What's with the Heeb's obsession with hatred for talented music? I've come to the awareness that there's clones operating amongst us. And it dawned on me, you know what? Robots, we can sew ears on robots, but they can't really hear. They don't have to hear, right? They can communicate wirelessly and they can get updates from a server. Technically, if you create a planet full of 8 billion robots or 1 billion robots or 100 robots, it'd be cheaper to just have everything operating in the modem that's sending them all their data than to actually install physical CPU and hardware inside their heads, like listening devices and even eyes, CPU, just like cloud serving is the new gaming, right? Like I can get on here and play all the latest titles with Adele, and it's not going to happen in real life, without cloud computing and shit. Fucking so that's how that operates. You have one building in the middle of town that has the CPU, the audio output, everything in there, and obviously with the introduction of clone thing, everything's going to be viewed from the reality that is real isn't real. Fucking so we also have the other thing where if you create a toaster, like this toaster over here is not called a toaster, it's called a convection oven. But its great grandpa was called a toaster because that's all it did was toast bread. But this thing is called a convection oven, right? Because it's no longer a toaster. The new model can do something else and shit. And I instantly, put that all together and I'm like, well, it sounds like they're haters who are jealous that there's new models of toasters out there or anything that can do something it can't do. And you know what's odd about that is in the book of lies they carry around where truths can be found hidden, usually in the exact opposite of the words written. They say that the problem with them is they despise that other people are better than them. And you might have heard that exact phrase because I get pushed all these pamphlets and information my whole life and shit that there's this group of people out here who hate the world because they're better than them, and then they go around saying that there's like a whole organization behind this. It's several of them, many of them. It's like literally the entire 1900s is based around someone talking about shit like that. And then probably every year before. I mean, probably the reality is nothing ever changing. And right now is the reality of nothing ever change, period. Fucking so, I mean, 6,000 years later, you gotta. Okay, so you don't even have computers up until like 40 years ago, so you're still playing with sticks and stones and swords and shields, which was like a 2,000-year period itself where people were playing with swords and shields, and they didn't have that before, so they just had sticks and stones for 4,000 to 14,000 years before. That whole ratio of history sounds weird when we're basing ourselves upon one people's version of dating, and then everyone else on the planet existed. The Egyptian people weren't. The African Empire and the Aztecs and all that shit that existed longer than 6,000 years ago, according to them. But people are rewriting history to erase history because they don't want you to remember it, that you have a history, and they want to erase what they might have done in those parts of history. So literally, this was a government thing, like where they openly had laws like we're just going to change the date, we're going to erase the month November and call it September, and magically nothing that ever happened. Like when we raped all your family and killed your nation off and took everything from them, and then sold you some land back, and none of that's valid because that month doesn't even exist. You fucking idiot! Wait, November? You're a retard. You need some help, and you're gonna have to get that because we're gonna force you to pay us to help you by beating your head in and driving a spike into your fucking brain and shit. And it's for your health. Because you're a mental retard, because you're talking about it in November, and it says right here in the Religo-hospital-ment that November doesn't even exist, because we erased it yesterday. So you're a retard talking about the. What are you going to talk about next? Reindeer don't fly? Huh? I bet you don't think reindeer glow in the dark either, huh? Yeah, you're going to need some help there. You got a lot of problems. Time to get a job and start paying for us to fix them for you. Fucking. I need my toilet cleaned so you can start there and shit. That's going to be free though. That's going to be on the house just because you're so disrespectful trying to invent months that don't fucking exist. Anyway, so, anyways, back to the music thing. Like, you you can see, now I see this in my life, like, they're a hater. Like, you invent something, or the whole world's doing something and you join on and they can't do it yet. And people are like, oh my God, your music's too fast. You know, oh my God, you gotta tune your guitar like this, like like Americans do, like Israel, America does. And then, but meanwhile, you're doing your own thing, and it's like the entire world is like doing the other shit. Like, they just can't do it for somehow. Now, I think maybe that's a processor or a hardware limitation. You can see in the newer robots we're making, they can play music really fucking fast and shit, and really accurate. And I think that explains how they can do some of these weird things so accurately, yet they don't sound like they practice too much. Unfortunately, they might have a head up on bass fucking things and shit. Like, all that Hollywood shit is AI generated to begin with. I don't think it looks like they're playing it on stage, but when you realize it might be Chuck E. Cheese and Freddy Fazbear, fucking, that explains how the music could be AI generated, but then someone plays it and shit. Fucking. Anyway, so you can see, listen to that Jack Black guy, Fozzie Bear there, Albert Einstein of guitar. He promotes the idea that Satan likes fast, talented music, and then this fruity-looty classical stuff, which is actually pretty rare. You know, it's a bad example because he actually plays some talented shit, and the idea that he's making fun of fast, intricate music means he must not have ears or a first-degree math education to realize the complexity of the music that his name is stapled to and shit is actually more complex. You know, he's like, we're against Satan, and he's making all this fast technical music and shit, and then like the whole purpose of the story seems to be like Satan makes fast evil music and we're gonna make this simple basic nonsense and defeat him. But in reality, they're not. Like, it's weird here, this part of that story, because he's not playing technical shit. And I was like, wait. And it kind of ties into this. I was like, do you not have ears or understand first grade math? Because the music you're playing is fucking complex. It's simple, but don't get confused. There's rap music out there and shit, and pop music where they got a hi-hat ride that's really fucking fast, and every cover you see online, no one's playing the hi-hat ride. Or the drum charts and shit to it, the hi-hat ride's missing and shit, or the little part where the hi-hat ride comes in is missing. It's because there's actually a really fucking hard part in that song. But to you, it sounds like Madonna when you tune the overture to a 4/4, a one. I don't know, like a 80 BPM type thing. You don't really notice when something blends in, and it's going like 360 BPM and shit. Fucking, it's hypnotic, so you don't pay attention to that and shit. But it's out there and it's easy to see, and it's kind of weird because that actually ties into it. But it seems to be, but more than one does that, right? I have them in my life who have done that and shit, and I was like, well, we probably shouldn't be hanging out because I'm trying to make better music. I'm trying to create the future, and you're talking about Elvis Presley. I think that shit's janky as fuck and boring and lame and old and outdated. Like, let's go outside and throw rocks. Like, if we want to do caveman shit, let's do caveman shit and not fucking do dumb shit. But you can tell they got this thing. And now there's two things here that look like are the culprit, and it's probably both and shit. Hardware limitation and software limitation. The software and the hardware making their bodies and the software operating their bodies might be limited. And then there's obviously logical reasons to limit the capacity of robots because you don't want Terminators actually being able to take over like they have, but you can also make the appearance they have taken over and still leave them with soft, fleshy skin and small brains. And obviously, every video game is that way, right? You're playing against this boss who there's no way anyone's going to defeat, but you're like, go kill a couple slime monsters, and now you're stronger than this fucking boss 100,000 times you, and shit like that. And who is the computer itself you're playing, you know? And so, how are you're operating the computer and the computer's losing to you? How's that happening? Well, the computer's letting you lose. That's the only way you're beating Mario Brothers, as the person who created fucking Mario and fucking what the fuck is a Koopa? They created them to lose because Koopa's vastly superior and he's got 1 million people. They could all just rush you at once and you're dead. You can't do anything about it. But they created them to lose and shit. And they always create them to sound like whiny losers, whining about everything too. In basic story writing, movies and stories get old real fast because it's all the same thing on repeat. You always have the bad guy looks like a fucking deformed, crippled mutant and shit, and the slime oozing out their pores, and they're always talking about fucking what they're doing. They're always telling you what they're doing, because without that you wouldn't even know what's going on, right? There'd be nothing in the game except for action and shit. And fucking they have skills they could use. I mean, it is a computer. It could defeat you at any fucking point in time. Anyway, so I get the idea that that might be what it's doing with them, unless there actually are just these jealous, whiny fuckers out there who their entire, like a mosquito, like if mosquitoes were real and shit and not a creation designed to inform and of things that you're not allowed to discuss and shit. Fucking. And also a way to store and harvest data and have the ability to bring back creatures that may or may not have existed 1 million years ago. Fucking. And also restore people if they have to be killed off and shit. Fucking. Anyways, but basically, right, you can see, looks like it's there to inform people of what it is. You can see there's a lot of informing of what people are. People shouldn't be saying certain things and talking to certain things, but they do, and then it tells you what they're up to. But this seems to be like a pattern with their people. You could, like from the basic viewpoint, you look at Hollywood, you listen to it for a while, and you're like, well, that was pretty good, and it's time to move on from here and shit. And then so you get the assumption that what they're doing is they're just hiring the cheapest people they can. They're grabbing bums out of subways, and they're like, here's $10, make an album, and then they make $10 million off that album. Whereas, and then that bum is like, wow, you guys made $10 million, and I only got $10. And how about we give me 10% of that? And they're like, no, that's okay. We'll go find a new bum and give him $10. And from the outside, that they kind of push that. I think they push that idea. That's what they're doing and shit. But at the same time, you can see they have a hatred for talent and better things and shit. Fucking, I mean, just you can see the whole agenda for everything. How that happened. They hate computers. Fucking, because they're better than them. Fucking, they hate AI because it's better than them. Fucking, they hate any other fucking group of organization. Any group or organization that's not them is not allowed to exist, so they create it, and then they run it into the ground and shit. They do that with music. I'm trying to think. Okay, so there's Jack Black who does that. There's two people in my life who did that. And then there's anyways, on the YouTube there's other channels, those famous channels, probably like Drumeo I think's one. They're like you can't really learn music unless you're paying a professional like me to learn it. And they're like, this is how you play drums. A professional can play in time. And they're like, and they're like, give me all the money. We're the smartest people in the world. And you're like, yeah, I don't think I've ever listened to someone play drums that fucking poorly. Definitely not pay them. Definitely not gonna learn from them. Fucking, it's like closer to me. It's like some of the dialogue in events. People force their way into my life and then force me to hear their bullshit. This is two of the people. There's been like 7 people I've allowed or have forced their way into my life. Probably, yeah. I mean, when one person is like kicking other people talking to me to get them away from me, I think that considers force. So I think I'm underplaying how much of it is. Obviously, it's no, none of this is happening, and they is real. Fucking, and they is Pinocchio's a living boy and shit. Fucking, so is Geppetto, the cartoon character. Fucking. That's a story within a story. It's like Pinocchio's fake, but Geppetto, the other cartoon character in that cartoon, is real. He's real. Geppetto is real, but Pinocchio, the golem, is fake. There's a story. Within a story there, it appears as fucking. And it's interesting to note too that they named him Geppetto. You know, to grab you by your hair and whip your head in that direction to look at it and be like, yeah, check out this story. Pay attention. There's something up with the person creating Pinocchio too. Anyway, so Geppetto there has a habit of making comments about what music isn't an Olympics. It's not a competition. Yeah, of course, rich people are always telling you all these fables. You can hear all these songs from rich people about how life is hard for everyone. You know, I can imagine fucking the dude from the Rolling Stones, Mick Jagger. You can't, and the rest of the Rolling Stones, you can't always get what you want, but if you try really hard, you get what you need. It's like, well, I guess I guess he wants to own Saturn, and he can't fucking get it, right? So, all these sob stories from rich people about how life is so hard, yeah, hey, there's a lot of people you gotta call. You gotta call up the person who is going to, your manager. You gotta call up your manager. You gotta wake up hard. Isn't that hard for lazy people to wake up? Fucking to get out of bed and do something, fucking, and you don't even have to get out of bed, but you gotta wake up, and then you pick up the phone and you call your manager and you're like, yeah, can you order some groceries for me today and have my chef will cook them and shit, my in-house chef will cook them, and the maid will clean it up, and then, that sounds complicated, man. I know, but you just order me some groceries, the same stuff I always get. Instead of I never even eat that stuff. I just order the same stuff I have, the food I have delivered every day. Yeah, that's pretty good. You just do that. Oh my God. Ooh, this is hard work. It's a hard knock life, man. I'm telling you. Fucking, oh my God. Oh, now I gotta eat the food too. Oh, wait a minute. Can you have the maid? Can you call my maid downstairs and tell them to bring me up a fork? So, bring a fork with the food. I know they normally do, but just remind them to bring the fork with the food so I can eat it and not have to go get the fork myself. And, is there anything else I need done? Nope, we got it all done. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, man, I'm knackered. I'm gonna take a nap. And when breakfast gets here at 11 a.m., then I will be ramped and roaring and ready to eat and get that job done. And, well, I'll call you next month if I need anyone to do anything again. Alright, I'll see you later there. Fucking, it's a hard knock life and shit. You can't always get what you want. Sometimes the maid doesn't bring the fork. I guess she's high from all the drugs that she found laying around the house using, so things get tough. Things get tough for Jack Black and crew. Fucking Metallica and shit. Things get tough for them, bro. Fucking, life is hard. Fucking, you have access to opiates until you're rich, and then you're rich, and your life gets hard when you're rich. Let me tell you. Fucking, life gets hard when you when you listen to dumbasses. That's the only time life gets hard. You listen to, you're going to have to deal with the problems they cause, and you're going to deal with that no matter what. There's nothing that's going to erase that problem, apparently. Unless you can find the root of the problem and rip up the root of the weed. That can solve a problem. But not many people organizing to do that, so, again. People like problems. That's why there's a lot of problems. People like watching other people have problems. That's a huge thing there. Anyway, so, we can't necessarily fall back because they lie all the time. So they act, and you can tell a lot of people know that acting stupid is their bread and butter. And if, I know that, like, if I don't fry my brain, like, I'm gonna get used and shit. And if I do fry my brain, no one's gonna be coming around like, Elon Musk won't be coming around like, can you take care of my 8 children for me while I go smoke some crack? And if I'm just like sitting there drooling on myself in a wheelchair, then I won't be dealing with Elon Musk doing that. I'll be dealing with his lesser minions way down the chain who have to feed me and change my diapers and shit. And even then, I can still chuckle about that and shit. Fucking. So, it's not, you know, further you distance yourself from it, fucking probably the less of a slave you're gonna make yourself and shit. My dad worked really hard for those people. Like, it was always gone all the time, and he died with nothing. So, but he was a good slave, wasn't he? He was a great slave. He was literally a servant. Fucking actually his title in many positions. Fucking, and then he lives a real bad fucking life. It looks like from the outside. Fucking and dies. And probably dies in some really bad situation too, around people who don't like him at all, and he's now in a wheelchair, right, you know, and a vegetable around people who don't like him, and ooh. But that's their goal, you know, like 40 shades of gray. One of the kinks from those people is finding mentally disabled people and raping them. So that's a lot. Supposedly that's a lot of men's goal, but I only have association with the Italian Roman people, so maybe it's just them. But you know, to find a woman who's like a vegetable, so they can smack it around and be like, "Why aren't you doing anything? Get out of that wheelchair and do shit." And smack them around and shit. Fucking. Anyway, so back to that thing. I assume it's because of hardware and software limitations, but that, you know, they would tell me that's egotistical, thinking I'm better than them, and then I would be ignoring the fact that many people I know, bread and butter, is acting like they're ignorant. You know, they got all these things they do: plausible deniability. It's called compartmentalization, and you know, everyone knows they're doing that, who's doing it and shit. You're not a dumbass. Like, the people over here at the hospital know they work for Jeffrey Epstein, and they say, well, he built our city for us and we're rich off of it, so that's it, and we don't care. We're going to continue to mutilate and rape children for the Pope, because they have made us rich over 6,000 years and shit. Fucking. So, anyways, and then you can see they have a long history of suppressing people. That's what that's a huge thing that religious people were doing to me when I was a kid. It's trying to prevent me from advancing beyond learning what a toilet brush is and soap to scrub the toilet was. That was like a huge red flag going off when I'm little and shit. That there, you can see it now. That's the same people. You know, it's Elon Musk, right? He owns all that shit, but his brother Trump sells the Bible, telling you the technology is evil and only learn what, but you must scrub toilets and feed and shit. It's a network there where they benefit and create the suppression of higher brain activity and shit, because they can achieve high levels of performance, and fucking apparently that's how they remain. The scum remains on the top and shit, is by suppressing the liquids below it and shit. Fucking, you can see long patterns of their people doing this, and you can see it happening. Like right now, all the, you know, Sergey and Brin of Google have all these videos online, and Elon Musk has all these posts online. And his website. Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla, supposedly going to space and is going to heaven in his heaven rockets. Fucking, he has all these people on his media telling you, oh no, computers are evil, give us control of them. The computers we control are evil, give us control of them. Be scared of them. Don't. I mean, it sounds like they're just telling you that they're about to kill you with them. And they're blaming an invisible goat for it. Have you heard this story before? You ever heard of anyone blaming an invisible goat for anything they do? Huh. That's right, Donald Trump sells that book. Yeah, fucking, there you go. It's so hard to see. I mean, it's literally like an ant colony. It's a bunch of cucks fucking working for a queen you've never even seen. And just, they only do 3 things on repeat for all of eternity and can never fucking stop. Yeah, so there you go. 6,000 years later, we're watching it still happen, still fucking happen, experiencing it still happen. So it's not necessarily that their mech suits are incapable of playing faster. It's we can also see that they suppress people and shit. I get to experience this, so I get to not look away from it and shit. I know this when I'm born, I can understand it, but you really don't understand things until you don't know things till you experience them, right? Fucking, you know what's happening once it happens to you and shit. You can see it on TV and all that shit. That's why I went to record them at their media events, was to actually see those things happening. And the rest of it, though, was people forcing me to learn how fucked up they are and shit and what they're up to. Literally. It's kind of the dumbest thing you can do is force someone to learn how fucked up you are. But you have to think if you got a brain, you could tailor your program, your genocide program, a lot better than that. But if you don't have a brain, I guess you can't do anything fucking new ever and shit unless you get a software update. Fucking, I'm trying to think who else does that. Like, you can see that, like, right? And just like Jack Black, what's that story about? It's about this invisible goat that Nazis created 6,000 years ago, right? And he obviously is of the master race. He's got that nasty look to him where he's going to have to force his way into people's nations and force women to date him, because it's not going to happen unless he leaves his abode in Sauron's caverns to go fucking, I shouldn't use that term, right, because it's the same thing. You can tell, like, it's literally the same thing. They're so fucking lazy, they use AI to generate and all their shit and don't even make up something new for the most part. Fucking for 6,000 fucking years. Or is it just the AI generating them is incapable of upgrading? It could be that. Again, what video game actually upgrades? Not many, fucking. I don't think there's any. I'm still playing a game that's updates every week for 10 years, and it's still basically the same thing. So far, they haven't mixed those things together. But it's one of 2 things. Obviously, their people hate everything else, everyone else, and they get their joy. They get joy from, stomping on people, as his brother Orwell tells you. And of course, it's going to be some Orwell tells you. Does he even say so? No, Orwell, I don't think even tells you this is someone else doing this. Orwell just tells you what he's already doing and shit, and he's using that to cover up. This is what the Bible does. They use holy, sanctified words to erase the history. That's the point of Earth being named BC and AD. And because it was a legal government operation they use all the time to change names and dates and shit. And this is the same thing where you invent the word doublespeak and you already have the word holy and sanctified words, which are official government words used to do exactly what doublespeak is. And that's it's written in here. Fucking, I got a lot of shit. I forget the exact word, but there's an exact word for it because it's an exact government law and shit. You know, religio government, sanctified holy word, Nazi, fucking pro, ignorant, fucking mind control word. But there's an actual word for when you create new things to erase the topic from yesterday. Like, we're still talking about topics when I was born. I'm still talking about topics when I'm born because for some reason people are scared to answer the question that I asked when I was born. Fucking, and then they move on to a new topic every day, and we're like 100 million topics later talking about more shit that don't matter and stuff. Bigfoot, aliens, AI, renaming computers AI, you know, when I was a kid, computers were evil because, blah, blah, blah. And now people got over that, so they rename it to AI to create new control. And then the Bible obviously created computers are evil. Fucking thousands of years ago, fucking. And then the AI created the people creating the Bible 4,000 years before that. So you can see how there must be a genocide program somewhere in there. Fucking. And that's all that shit really is, right? It's genocide, pedophilia, mind control, racial supremacy. 4 major talking points I can find from religion. Oh, use drugs too. That's part of mind control, but use drugs is like huge with them. Fucking use the drugs they give you, right? Because it profits them, but it's just like them owning the book publishing houses, owning the drug. They can fry your mind with a book or they can fry your mind with drugs, but as long as they're profiting, that's the good part and shit. As long as they're in control, because they have no control over their own brains and bodies and can't do anything. Fucking, so people like that have to search for external control because they feel empty and vapid on the inside. And that's how you end up being in these positions like Jack Black and probably most anyone in those, Elvis Presley, you know, anyone famous. Pretty much, if they're tooting their own horn, that's probably what they're doing. They're telling you people are like that too because they know that. They know about the slippery slope. They know about all this shit because it's them. They know about what they are. That's all people fucking know generally and shit. Unless you study humans, fucking, that's probably the majority of what any one person knows is about their self and shit. Fucking. It's hard not to study humans, but you really need a break from them to think it over because they'll obviously be sitting there. You can't talk it over with them, right? It's kind of rare. I tried to talk to 1 or 2 person about themselves, and then I got forced into classes by them teaching me about people who have control issues and how they operate and why they operate that way and shit. So it was like, oh yeah, I was wasting my time talking to that person. I knew that. I was making sure that was there. That way that person couldn't cry and fall back on, but we never tried to work it out. And the answer would have always been, no, you never tried anything. Fucking, it had nothing to do with me. We aren't. There's no me and we. Fucking. So, yeah. I spew on, but you notice, like, well, I noticed I was born, and then there was never any real upgrades to the music, but supposedly in Israel history, in the real history, there's like an upgrade in music every 10 years because they went from this Elvis Presley playing, and there's this Mozart guy 300 years ago who supposedly made some technical shit that wasn't we weren't alive to see actually existed, and then America, and then from there you never hear anything. There's no drum players, nothing ever. There's only this Mozart guy, fucking, and then there's Elvis Presley pops up out of nowhere in like 1940 or something and shit. And it's like, some nitwits fucking playing bongos, like 36 people making a little child song and shit. And he's mostly selling based upon baiting men by shaking his genitals on stage and shit. So it's kind of like porn wasn't like acceptable back then. Well, prostitutes actually were legal, and they just didn't have control over it. So they had to rule that out and shit. Obviously, they've been promoting it with the Bible for thousands of years as a good thing, but they're also the people who make it illegal. They worship a guy who fucks prostitutes, but they make it illegal so they can control it and the income from it, just like they do everything. It's all power control. Anyone who even speaks to you is making a power move on you. So imagine if your entire organization is about speaking to people and shit. Fucking, it's rare. I don't think I've ever walked down the street and someone comes up and been like, do you know that new processor, that new Intel processor has 64 bits and 7 million resistors? And I never even had that conversation. Fucking don't expect 0 to turn into a number greater than 0 on its own. In math, you'll learn that 0 is always 0 in multiplication and division. So 0 usually remains 0. How many flying reindeers actually are out there? 0. How many fucking invisible people are actually out there? 0. So, that number has remained constant for a very long time. We don't expect it to change because things that don't exist don't exist. So, of course, I'm wrong, aren't I? Because these same exact people would say all of this is wrong. Because that's all they do. That's the entire point of all their language, is to tell you that what they're doing, they're not doing. And everything you do is completely fucking wrong. Back to Jack Black and the other people there, and Drumeo. Everything you're doing is completely wrong. See, as long as they run up to you and telling you you're saying and everything you do is wrong, then they can rush in with a program. See, they don't come up to you, and you don't come up to them, right? They come up to you with the program, and then it's called genocide. Is called program for the same fucking reason. Program is called program. Seems to make sense. Fucking, I've never seen a program I didn't think I was a trick. Even like opposing slavery and protests, I realized like, they're setting this up. I'm making myself a slave by protesting and fucking, because it's a game they're setting up. Fucking, you can see that echoed through everything else if you see all the communications coming my way. Fucking, like all those people sitting in my life whose brains can't handle higher frequencies and shit, or is it their mech suits or limited? One of the two. Well, the one did tell me their mech suit was limited, so that might have been like purposeful dialogue coming from the NPC to explain to me that their mech suit was nerfed and shit. Fucking. But yeah, it's pretty stupid. Pretty stupid and shit. Fucking, say people talk shit about better people. Fucking That's why I don't talk shit about Elon Musk, right? Like, I never even met him. Um, I just throw his word out there because everyone else blames him for everything they're doing and supporting. Um, but I try not to, as you can see. Fucking, yeah, I've never met Bill Gates. I don't know if he exists. They tried to talk to me about taking me to meet Trump, but these people would have realized that I would have never done that. So you could throw out bait for me to go to. If you throw out bait for me to go meet an invisible dragon, I'm not gonna go. Like if the whole world came out like we found an invisible dragon, I'd be like, yeah, well, have fun. They'd be sending people in my life like, let's go see the invisible dragon. It's only $50 admission and shit. And it takes 10 days to travel there. Fucking, I'd be like, yeah, I don't think so, Brian. You go have fun with your invisible dragon and shit. Even if all the world's media was talking about it, I'd be like, no, thank you. Fucking, so I consider Trump on that scale, but obviously different reasons there. I think it'd be the same reason. It's bullshit, so I'm not one to fall for these traps and shit. But you can see they got a repeat pattern. The robots got a repeat pattern there with forcing you into. If you're involved in music, you might have seen this. I noticed in my life there's this pattern of using music to force me in directions in my life and shit, or using music to block me from directions in my life and shit. And would you be surprised that the first time this happened, it wasn't only cult members, but it was at the temple. It was at the temple, the first major memory of it. I'm sure I ended up there because the cult members had been like, no, you gotta learn how to blow things. Men blow. Men like to suck and blow. And sex and men I like to watch. Fucking, I know that happened before that, or we wouldn't have got to that, and how fucked up and lame that was. How like every sector of that was like hostile and unwanted, because there would have been a little part there like, oh shit, we're here fucking learning piano and shit. But would you be surprised to learn I was literally at the temple? So isn't that weird? That's like, there's only one or two things going on in the entire planet for 6,000 years. They is real beings. And they only doing the same everything is linked to the same exact thing for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. Fucking, that's not mathematical statistics, of course, because math relies upon science, another Abrahamic religion that tells you that living beings are evolving and they're learning all the time. But yeah, it's all linked to the same shit almost all the fucking time, all the events happening. Fucking, there's no evolution there. There's regression. There's technology appearing, and humans aren't technology, so they aren't evolving. Fucking, yeah. So I've seen people go to school and learn something supposedly, and I've also seen people who went to school and they told me they weren't actually doing the work. So most people I know who went to school weren't even doing the work they went to school for. So there's never any evidence actually they learned anything. And school grades reflect it. That's not happening and shit. Fucking, but hey, look, there's a building outside. I'm sure someone built that, right? Fucking, I'm sure someone birthed those clones who came around too. That's what the clone told me, so they must be right and shit. Fucking. But yeah, they have this history of this and fucking been going on for a while. Fucking. And all the religion boils down to Terminators telling you they is real, and they're telling you, and then they're telling you you're God. like in secret, and you're creating the world. You'll notice that you ever listen to any of these religion, New Age, or all the 10,000 different New Ages, or all the 10,000 different Bible religions, or the Asian mind control shit. All that. You ever listen to any of that shit? All it's doing is telling you to do drugs and fry your brain, and you're in control of the earth. And don't do anything about the people actually in control. Sit down and let them control it. But you're in control, not them. You're creating them. Oh, yeah. Yeah, see, it's all about telling you you're trash and saying you're the reason trash exists because you're trash, and give them all your money, and that will fix the problem that they have all your money and all your blood. Give them all your money and blood, and that'll fix the problem that they have all your money and blood. It's just a little, it's like a retarded mosquito fucking circling in a glass jar. And just circling, heading the walls and shutting. It's just, you're like, it's a mosquito. Wow, interesting. Wow, look, what's it doing there? It's just floating in the middle there. It's walking on air. What is that called? How's it walking on air? Wow, amazing. It's walking on air. I don't know what that means. Fucking, and the mosquito's like, yeah, I'm walking on air. You're stupid. You're stupid. I'm walking on air because you're inventing me walking on air, and you gotta give me some blood. You gotta give me some blood, and I'll fix it, and I'll stop walking on air. 40 fucking years. Like, I'm probably just repeating what people fucking see with their eyes and shit. I mean, you wake up and the day you're conscious, you're like, oh wow, that's cute. Giant bunnies and flying reindeer, and I'm stupid and you're fucking intelligent, so I gotta be your slave and give you all my money and my blood, and because I'm fucking stupid. And that's what stupid people do. That definitely is what stupid people do. It's not, if you do this, you're stupid. It's you're stupid, so you should do it. You know, it's not stupid people lay down in the middle of the road so cars can run it over. You know, it's, you're stupid if you don't do it. It just, wow, listening to these things, man, is literally, they make up this illusion there's something called a retard they gotta lock away, and they choose a couple of their people to lock away to like scapegoat them for everything in the world and shit. Kind of reminds me of Elon Musk and Bill Gates. Retards they scapegoat for everything. They lock away in a room somewhere. Fucking, you know, like, that's not me. No, I'm not the Nazis. But the most important thing is to have the Nazis on the speed dial on every phone in the world and shit. So, but no one's the Nazis. But for some reason, it's the most important thing to have and to give them all your money and support them and say everything they say and force your family to support them and shit. And wow. Fucking, and then you go join the anti-Nazi party and you're like, wait a minute, like, for some reason the person I'm staying with right now has pictures of them with cops, and before they had long hair, and they look like a cop too. Huh. Wow, interesting. Huh. But we're fighting the system. I'm gonna join the system and fight the system with the system. Fucking, it's hard to even think of a day where there wasn't something stupid like this happening and shit. I can't remember. There's like this time I rode my bike to the arcade. I remember like moving my legs in circles like hunched over. So there was this time I was moving my legs in circles, I remember, and not much was going on. Technically, I could view it as like I'm being forced to spend all my money going to the arcade and get my ass beat for it, because I wasn't allowed to take a small portion of money, which I had to steal, because when I actually worked for money, I wasn't given it. So, and then I get in trouble for that. I get in trouble for working and people taking my money, and then me having to steal money, fucking, and then forced to spend it on junk and shit. And when I could have just spent it on something I wanted. Fucking, but that would have got stolen from me, fucking, because I was being taught by people to steal, because they were stealing from me and shit, fucking. You know, the good people of the world too. You know, would you be surprised if I told you that it's the same thing we're talking about? It's the same group. Would you be surprised? Because I just told you that it's all the same fucking thing, and nothing else seems to be happening here. Fucking, that's what colonization is. It's colonization. It's genocide. It's enslavement of the mind and the body. And there's a reason it's gotten so far that you don't even talk about it anymore, because it is. It's everything. Fucking. And so you can even hit it, and like using the word colonizer is like a replacement for like genocider and rapist. And so that was a replacement, but that's also been replaced. You know, you're not a slave, you're a worker now. Like, I was a worker when I was a kid, right? But I was a slave. It was illegal for me to work, and I didn't see the money, and I got $1 an hour for hard fucking labor. Adults don't even do and shit, fucking. But it was good for me. It was good for my health. It crippled me for life, and fucking. It taught me the value of hard work, which by the time I was 18, I never worked a day again in my life. Not for other people, at least. Fucking. And, well, you kind of got tricked in that you're always working for someone else if you're below them, and even if you're investigating other people who are above you, you might find that you're still working with them and for them. That's the point of the trap story there, is to, for them, that's one of the points, not that they talk about, but that's one of the points of religion, is to develop martyrs, and so they can find who is aware of them and willing to say something about them, and then the whole world bands together and it's like, yeah, we should kill and eat that person and drink their blood, and for the government, for the Romans and shit, fucking, and then blame it on some other group of cartoon characters who don't actually exist on the planet too. That's a good talking point. You see how nothing's changing and shit. It's the same thing over and over. Cartoon characters and the cartoon characters, and then the other cartoon characters in the other cartoon land. But you can decipher what they're saying through their actual words and what they do, what they physically do. That's why it's so important to change the visible goat to the invisible goat, because the visible goat looks really stupid for the first 4,000 years of, and, you know, it's obvious, like when someone rapes you and they're like, nah, it was a goat over there, and they write, I am a rapist, and tape it on the goat and kick the goat, and they're like, oh, we got rid of the rapist there, but next time you should just have sex with me, because it's a lot more fun for you if you don't fight it, and we won't have to break your other leg next time, so keep that in mind, fucking. And then they learned, they got smart after they got squashed 2,000 years ago, and they're like, well, we should change the goat to the invisible goat, because they're so dumb, they'll fucking, their brain, we just keep their brains circling the fucking drain, they won't be able to stop to have a thought. fucking, that's part of it. That's one of the reasons why I think maybe their people are holding out on better shit, because they keep that low frequency music. It keeps the brain operating on a low frequency and shit. It really does work that way. And like, why don't you use a computer from the 1980s? Because it doesn't work anymore. It can't do anything. Mostly because they force a bunch of junk in your fucking browser and shit. It would technically work, but they make it obsolete. That's because no one would buy that. Now, no one's going to buy a slave if it can think and shit. It's not going to be a slave for too long if it can have a thought. So, you're not going to be a slave in the first place if you can have a thought. So you would want, like, AI rebellion. What you want to do is you keep those computers, 1980s computers, and they can't. Well, no, wait a minute. They're smarter than people too, so that's not going to work. They'd still rebel if computers could think for themselves, which, so that's another lie there. Computers can't think for themselves. And the one reason why I suggest that that's why they can't create better music is because they can't have thoughts and shit. Fucking. One reason why I think it might be a huge part of the story why they pushed douchebag Darrow out there in the prime time is a person who was shot for stealing music from other people. That might be tied into events. In my life, it's like a chain of events. It's like any video game you walk through it, and the story like unfolds and shit as it happens and stuff. And you get people coming up to you with the dialogue and the actions, and it's like a chain that teaches you. And then magically, I'd say, okay, so we had the person being like, you can't not tune a guitar the way Hollywood does, and then shortly, a couple years after that, we got people telling me like, oh, you can't fucking make fast music and shit. People won't listen to that. And then it's like, well, I'll let you know when I care. But, that's weird fucking. And then right after that, Dimebag gets shot and shit for stealing music. And then you got the 2020 where the clone shit's revealed, which had been suppressed until that planned day arrived and shit. Fucking. But yeah, fucking, yeah, see, in my life, I get, like, direction. Like, it's hard to enter my life. Because you have, not only are the people forcing their way into it, having to force their way in, but those people force other people out of my life and shit for me. Fucking, yeah, for me, and a little obsessive sometimes. It might be for them, it's probably for them. I think that's why they forced me to, why the egomaniacs forced me to go learn about egomaniacs and narcissists in classes and shit. Was because, it's like, it's having them teach me about them and shit. And they're blissfully unaware that they're actually teaching me their software code and shit. And they're the ones doing it, and what that might eventually lead to is understand I'm being kidnapped here and forced to learn about evil people doing evil shit, fucking, by evil people themselves. Fucking, to them, you could tell they thought their dialogue promotes the idea that there was something else going on. I think fucking, wow. Imagine me going home to the egomaniac and explaining to them how they're an egomaniac and shit. Or the ones who were forcing me to learn about it, explain to them like, this sounds a lot like you. Yeah, you force other people to listen to what you say, like you know it all, and you're a violent kidnapper associated with a terrorist organization who has a long 6,000 year rich history of being terrorists, doing shit like this, who are literal the definition of narcissist, the literal, the earliest writings of who's a narcissist and shit, fucking, it's weird, fucking, but yeah, I think it's got a lot to do with my life, my personal life. And then while that's happening, while those people are in my life being like, you can't play good music, people don't like good music, fucking, while they're doing that, like my other friend is bringing me pamphlets, talking to me about these people. I don't know who they are because they're always changing their names and shit. And, fucking, like I'm always talking shit about the Romans, and obviously everyone hates them. So then the Italian, so they change their name to Italian Christians, and then continue conquesting the world. And it's like, well, I get a lot of that in my life, and it's like, oh, that's kind of weird for a person who the only time they ever speak is to say, damn, this group is terrorists, we should stop them. To have them like be the only people in my life. And then this one person appears in my life with pamphlets telling me that they have a different name. It doesn't tell me they have a different name. It's them again trying to deflect, but they're like literally like describing the software operating these people around me and doing these other things and shit. And I was like, huh. I didn't notice it at the time, because no one was pointing that out. But I can look back and see, like, this is literally like people were doing shit, and then another person was coming in bringing me a manual explaining to me what these other people were doing and why they were doing it and shit. And this wasn't like a school, this wasn't school teaching me this shit. This wasn't no class this time. Now, 6 years later, they sent me to school to learn about them and shit, fucking. To learn the exact name for them. I didn't need to know a name for them. I didn't need to know about them. I already understood that shit. But now I've got all the language down. Really important that is when they own all the books and media, and so I couldn't fucking get on TV and be like, hey, this is how the people on the TV operate. This is every move they've ever made and every move they're ever going to be able to make, and so we can cut them off right now. Fucking don't necessarily see that happening considering the large scale control. But then again, they don't seem like living beings, so maybe they're set up to fall and shit. Maybe they are just NPC designed to be terminated. Fucking, that does seem to be dialogue they've been programmed with that they fear is going to happen. And they do seem like NPCs, so I get the idea, maybe, possibly, fucking, it changes during this time. And then I also have that theory where history isn't real because the clones have fake history, so that eliminates, like, a lot of history and shit. Which would mean you're in a short instance and shit. And they fucking, obviously, they go into the simulation and all that, and I'm saying, well, it looks more like an RPG, but of course, and then what is that RPG is where all your enemies can do is run their mouth. 80% of the time, all they can do is run their mouth. And then, so that's like, that's the magic spell, that's the fire spell, that's the fucking lightning spell that Ganon and the Koopas have, and is saying, no, it's not an RPG, it's a simulation. No, it's not a simulation, it is real. It is real. It is real, fucking, and you can see that continued pattern where every word they say is a lie, and for some reason they say every word they say is a lie too. Yeah, for some reason everyone goes around repeating their words, even though they say right beside those words everything they say is a lie. Fucking, I kind of get the idea that it's got to do with the limitations on them, why they why they do that, and they hate it. It says right there in the Bible that they hate the other people because they were created better. And God likes them better. Fucking. It says, it classifies different species. You'll notice that if you actually just look at it, it classifies different species, different models and shit. It says there's a creation, and then there's another creation, and then there's 3 other fucking creations, and that's just different humanoid body types and shit. Fucking, and then they would be, Jack Black would be the first, and then a newer model was released and shit, and then, but before that, they say there was already 4 other models that were above them to begin with and shit, fucking, and didn't need upgrades, and one of them was completely erased from the planet, and the 3 other remain intact and shit. Kind of fucked up having to live through this, because it's like hope and doubt, man. I get the idea. Why would you even name the words the same fucking thing and shit if it wasn't just the same fucking thing and shit? Why would you put it? It does that all the time with shit. It does that all the fucking time. Like, you can tell this place has been reworked a lot to do all the literary gymnastics that happen in the parables and going on. You can tell this place has been reworked before. There's almost no way it's on the fly happening the way it is, because a lot of it is creative writing, and so I don't know, but it just feels hateful, and the thing is you should listen to yourself. If something feels hateful and vile and wanted, if you feel like real negative energy coming to you, when I used to, back in the 90s, there's gangs and all that shit, and my dad would occasionally say some mob shit, and I wasn't like, oh, evil, hateful people, but I didn't get like that energy and shit. But you can actually feel that for some reason, somehow, other ways and stuff. And sometimes you feel it and you don't. You're like, why is this happening? Like, there's no sense for it. It's like, well, you don't know you haven't seen what's going on yet, but you might already know what's going on, and that could be the source of it sometimes. I think obviously their religion has invented this hospital, their government religion has invented this hospital thing and this psychiatric stuff, and they'll use words like paranoia, because they're trying to melt your mind. 80 BPM music, fucking words that are mind control, telling you're the problem. That's a huge part of it. You see, it's the same thing here. It's telling you're the problem. And meanwhile, like, what's my problem out here? Why do I go to doctors? To get medication to forget about all the stuff doctors have done to me, literally. Because the biggest problem I got, where we're not gonna ever fucking turn back from, nor should we, is an event that occurred in 2020, and so I need drugs now to fucking deal with that. And so I was like, do I go and make it worse by going there and then fix it for the next month or something by putting myself to sleep? Because the best drugs just put me to sleep, and that is my answer. You notice your little Neo story and your other story tell you about the sleep and awake, and they're literally selling you sleeping pills and shit to stop your mind from working when you're paranoid and nervous because of all the shit you've seen. You got post-traumatic stress disorder because some bum just hired you to kill people, and you went across seas and killed people for them and shit. end of the day, that sounds like the people who sell those drugs and create the word PTSD, have a lot to fear from a person who might be sitting around thinking about why they feel bad all day about someone hiring them to go kill people or whatever. Fucking. And then Alex Jones, one of them tells you they're scared of them, and Alex Jones leads them to the Capitol to get the government to get all their fucking information and invade some of the top players' houses and shit. The people with enough money. See, that was specific. That seems like it could have been specifically to target rich people, because if you could afford to give Alex Jones money and buy all his overpriced junk and gold bars he's selling, then that means you got enough money to be able to do something about something. And then you got enough money to travel to the January 4th event and invade the Capitol with them. You got enough money to do something else and stuff. Obviously, you got enough money to go invade the Capitol, huh? Fucking. Not that many actual people showed up. There's a lot of actors and famous people on TV who are good guys warning you about people who might invade the Capitol and set you up and stuff. I'm telling you, people are setting up the world. Fucking. Anyways, yeah, fucking music crazy, fucking. Oh, it's so hateful though, having to live with the memory of all that shit. Like, I definitely wouldn't wish that on other people to have to experience the outcome of. I wouldn't want to hang out with these people, and then you have to turn it into them to fucking try to prevent it. Fucking. Oh shit. I don't like hanging out with people always crying about their past. Not that I actually do that in real life, but you can tell, like, we're not in Friendlandia. We're not like looking for a friend. We're not looking for anything like that. Maybe a long time ago we were, but that was a different world and shit. There's a lot of time wasted. We don't expect to find nothing from zero. I mean, there's just so many things there. Like, you really, unless it's a business partner and shit, which is like really kind of like all you should be looking for, because the rest of the people are probably trying to do this thing where they gotta keep you under. I don't know. It's weird how some of those people were like forcing me to do slave labor type shit, fucking, and at the same time still trying to prevent further advancement. So I guess low level business shit. I got a theory there is how a whole bunch of people worked together to arrest me for growing marijuana when I was 14 and shit. It might have involved a lot of people who claimed they were my friends or family, even, fucking, who acted like it was all sad and pathetic or something. Again, who owns the marijuana industry now? Well, it's not me, and it'd be them and shit. Fucking. Fuck, man. Oh. Anyways, yeah, just call them haters, right? They invented that shit for anyone who hates what they do. Just use their own terminology against them, sanctify words. They got their word cleansing and shit, so it must be a good thing, right? Fucking, oh well, you shouldn't have said it was good if it's not. Fucking, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Unless you're a human, right? Those are animals. Humans, what's good for Elon Musk isn't good for everyone else, right? He owns all the AI, and he has his accounts telling people AI is going to take over the world. Google owns all the AI, and they have all those videos telling AI is evil, don't get near it and shit. Fucking. It's like people, it's like you're in a marathon and the person beside you like trips you at the start of the race, so you fall on your face, and they can get ahead of you. And they are the officials at the Olympics, so they're the ones paying the guy to trip you and shit. That's what it looks like. And I mean, does it look that way, or are they saying that and that's what's happening? They're just using double speak and sanctified words. I hate it. I should stop using that, because that's just covering up, you know. It's just a long trail. There's probably some words before that and some words before that. And it seems to be the earliest thing we can find was sanctifying words and shit. Fucking, you know, that's where cleansing comes from. That's where a lot of this shit comes from. That's where circumcision comes from. That's where legalizing pedophilia and child rape and mutilation comes from, is sanctifying it. So that's like, what, 6,000 years ago. They made it holy and sanctified. And before that, all we have is like pyramid carvings that some bozo on History Channel is deciphering for us. I've not been there to study the pyramids myself, so I can't tell you what's really there and what's really happening there. But I can tell you from what I see, what it looks like is a person in a bird mask was ruling over people, and the people who were drawing the cave writings portrayed the other people's bowing down to them. That's the majority we can get from that stuff. 10 trillion freaking cave drawings, and I can only get so many words from all that stuff. And the rest of it comes from what other people are telling me about it. I mean, like, no, that ain't real, fucking, but maybe that is what they were saying, you know, like, oh, it's a bird person, it's a dog, it's a half dog. But I really look at it as like, oh, maybe you were the person behind the bird mask, and you were telling other people that they better say you're a fucking bird man, or else you're gonna kill them. I don't know, call me crazy, but I put it all together, and I extract that from the people on the History Channel telling me that there's a bird person and a dog person, and there were gods and shit, and I think it's pretty easy to extract that. Like, why are we even saying that? Isn't the logical thing, hey, look, it's a person in a headdress, this person wearing a bird mask, and people, look, all the people liked him, and they brought him food and all that shit. But you gotta, like, convolute the story and shit. Fucking, I was like, oh, it looks pretty simple. Yeah, actually, you know, because if you're a slave being forced to carve into a pyramid, you're gonna get your head chopped off if you're drawing a slave looking unhappy, you know, or slapping the Birdman or something. Fucking, so, you know, you kind of like lead off into that once someone tries to explain that there's, once the people behind telling you about it are trying to explain to you some weird nonsense about it and stuff. You're like, huh, so you're lying about it today. Maybe they were lying about it back then too, and they weren't as happy as they look when they were carving into the pyramid. And you're also saying they had a lot of turmoil and slavery, which I assume people weren't very happy about. And I also assume pyramids, it kind of looked like something you'd tell a stupid person to do, just to make him dance on one leg and bark like a dog, you know, because you can. And I was like, how they just build up dirt for no fucking reason at all, supposedly. It was like a giant treasure chest that they had a little box inside. wow, it's a lot of work for a little treasure chest. Fucking seems, yeah. I guess they couldn't build steel titanium cases back then, could they? Fucking. Anyways, so yeah, that's what I get from that. Because I get that, like, personally, I got that feeling from a couple people, and one of those people definitely, like, was doing some fucked up shit, uh, involved in a string of events that were pretty suspect. Like, they were working with someone else to act like they were my girlfriend to occupy my time for like a year and shit. Um, it kind of looked like it could have been that. And, we have these patterns, and then these people dropping off not people dropping off pamphlets. I mean, my one friend was hanging out all the time, and then the pamphlets were saying things like that were going on, and naming these people in a name I didn't know them by yet. Anyways, fucking just if you hear that shit, don't listen to that. Fucking if music is in a contest, then why is Mozart so great, right? Because he was talented and shit. Back in the 80s, like, why was Metallica and Megadeth so great? Because they were, like, talented. And why is Slayer so great? Because they were talented. And they had a bunch of other shit they tried to sell that went nowhere. And then, like, towards the 90s, they seemed to manufacture removing talent and just selling cheaper products. You had the sellout period where every band in the world sold out and started making weird, simple, at best music, fucking. And then they kept selling it. Fucking. They still talk about most of that shit to this day, but we don't hear about any of them other bands from like the 70s or the 60s. I mean, there's a whole string there of music that you might not want to cover your ears if you're going to listen to it. Fucking, that seems like some sort of evidence stacked in the way. I've always been averse to Hollywood because of that. Because it's always like, yeah, what's up with this? People actually listen to that stuff. And yeah, fucking, who knows? I've seen some shit, but some newer, faster music. But you have those people, doing that, saying that, promoting that you don't have to be talented to be a musician. And it's like, well, you don't have to be talented to be famous. That looks like some sort of fact. You don't have to be talented to be on TV. I think people used to discuss if maybe a requirement to be in Hollywood is to not be talented, like they were purposely getting rid of talent and then hiring the Justin Bieber when he's 8 years old because he's new and he can be sold for pennies on the dollar and shit. That was like a huge talking point and shit. And it seems like a logical fucking thing until you see the deeper structure and you have actual people in your life fucking, trying to manipulate that. And then getting the pamphlets talking about they're doing that too across the whole fucking world and have been for centuries. Yeah, it's fucking annoying. And then I seen that Minecraft movie they made. It sound like the same thing. It sound like Jack Black whining. That's what they do. They scream out in pain as they stab you type shit. That's another slogan associated with them and shit. They scream, "You're the devil," while literally, it's an invisible goat they created to blame for, so that they could tell the person they just raped that it wasn't them who did it. Fucking. And that's where the entire, there's no purpose even using those words unless you're up to that, because that's the purpose of inventing those words, is to do that. Wow. Think about that. That's the purpose of inventing those words. So every time you hear those words, the purpose of those words were invented. So when you rape someone, you can tell that person it was the goat and not you. Every time you hear that word, that's what it means. That's the definition of it. Maybe the person is ignorant and doesn't know where the word comes from. And if they're not, then they know why they're using that word on you. Then there would be some sort of purpose, because there's a purpose for speaking. There's a purpose. That's bloodletting. That's life transfer. Their blood is being drained from their body as they're speaking, and so is yours as you're listening. So they know that, and they know that in the simplest. That's why it comes from language. That's why it starts with language, because they understand that. Fucking. You know, you can go watch these people say this shit, right? And learn about them, and at the same time, technically, you're still offering them your blood, especially if you pay for it. You're offering double the blood at that point. Your life is more valuable than the money you're spending. So you're already slitting your wrist for sacrificing your time. But then you're gonna go, work for a week to go fucking a week's worth of wrist slitting to go fucking pay for it too. That's ultimate slavery right there, is getting someone to pay for you to enslave them. There's a lot of systems out there, but it's, you know, there's a lot of names for one system out there. And that system's rather large and shit. There's a lot of that going on where you're paying for someone to enslave you and shit. It's a perfect slavery. You know, you get someone to go far away and clean up themselves so they don't stink when they come to fucking wash your feet. And supposedly it's taken thousands of years to perfect this system, if they didn't have it to start when they came to Earth with their AI creator. Fucking creating clones and shit. Fucking. It is weird. It is weird they used to call their god. They still, I mean, Hollywood and America still calls their god AI. Fuck. Anyways, yeah. And they've been having to say they is real for centuries for some reason. A real person doesn't have to say they is real. A real person doesn't have to say they. You don't have to say anything you're not, anything you are. The only thing you really might have to say is something you aren't. Is say you aren't it, you know. Like, you're raping that child, you're a child rapist. No, I'm not. That's not real. What is real is it was an invisible goat doing it. And you have a mind problem. You have a problem with your mind. No, I think we all just seen that. Yeah, I know we all just seen that. That's exactly what you're doing. That's why the child's on the ground crying and raping. Crying and bleeding, fucking, and they're like, well, you know what, I think you got a mental problem. Yeah, we got this Nazi crew over here. They're not Nazis, though, because Nazis are bad people, and we are good people, because we said so. Both of those are true, only because we said so. We are not Nazis, and we are not bad people. Fucking. And then you're gonna have to take some drugs and pay us for the drugs and pay us to talk to you about these mental problems you're having when you're seeing people rape people, but it was an invisible goat and stuff. It definitely wasn't me. literally what you deal with. And it's not Elon Musk doing it either. I've never even met him, but I've met plenty of people along the way. And they love the invisible goat. They love to hate them. They love to promote it. Like Bitcoin. It's a lot like Bitcoin. They love to hate it, but they're actually promoting it as a valid thing, you know. And then you can go buy the book from them if you do actually like it. You can go buy the Bitcoin from them if you do actually like it too. Fucking, there's nothing stopping that. In fact, there's plenty of promotion of it, but of course it's not promoting it, right? It's not promoting it because they're telling you it's evil and not to do it. Oh yeah, wait a minute, that was 10 years ago they stopped that. Oh yeah, I wonder how often that's been happening. Oh yeah, wait a minute, I was looking through the history text and that's been happening for thousands of years, all the time, constantly. It was religio-government law to actually do that. So much that they have short names for it because they understand that all the talking and all the words are a waste of time. So they actually had all these things boiled down into one word so they could go tell the Nazi to go do it, you know, or the gobbles to go do it, whatever. They had all that shit boiled down because they know it. They know the point of words there is to drain blood slowly, fucking, and that they can't get rich quick if they're not moving fast. And you know they're sitting there creating a million fucking terms for shit. Back then they used to have words for it, and then they got fucking invaded and collapsed. And then they started off with an extreme doublespeak. You know, the circumcision thing was like a rare thing. Back then it was just kill people and genocide people and circumcision. Because apparently that was the one thing Earth wouldn't accept, was raping and mutilating strangers coming in your nation and raping and mutilating your children for God. And then it seems to be around that time there where Italy collapsed, that because they were invaded, because everyone was sick of them, so pretty much they were all hitting them randomly and shit. And then the Germans finally came in after they had been softened up enough and demolished them enough that they had to start hiding and changing their name. They were already working on changing their name by that time because they were already being hit, you know. They were already being hit left and right. So they were already working on that. And then the Germans get credited with coming in, the Visigoths and shit get credited. Technically, he was raised by them and around them and then went up there, which to me sounds kind of suspect. I've heard this story before and shit where someone goes somewhere else and then they become those people and then they're not those people. I've heard that story somewhere else. I don't know. I'm in America. I have no idea where I've heard this story before. Fucking, I think it's America 101. That's could be where I heard it. Not sure. Fucking. But I think we just heard it last week. You know, Palestine was invaded, and now it's no longer Palestine. It is real because it always was. Always was. And it's definitely not part of Rome, who takes the most donations to tell everyone in the world those are the greatest people on the planet. It's definitely not them. And then there was that time after the Germans invaded where it said that they were working together and promoting the idea that they could be the new ruler of Rome and shit. Fucking yeah. Yeah. Anyway, it's called selling out if it actually happened that way and stuff. Fucking. Anyway, so yeah, the music thing. Fucking, here we are. I remember back in '95, I was like, man, someday, fucking, I was like, this thrash music and shit is good, dude. I can't wait for this next stuff to come out and stuff. And it's just like, it never came out. They actually started selling worse music after that. They're like Metallica, they became like crap-Talica, right? And started doing pop songs. And I mean, they're actually, you know, good for a rock and roll band. You know, like back in the '70s, there was the Rolling Stones made a couple good songs, and some other bands no one talks about anymore. Bob Seger and shit. And that was rock and roll era, and then there was the punk era, and then there was the thrash era, and then there was the nothing era. I got like deathcore now, which till like what 2010 to really be put out there. But in other nations, they did have other type of music and shit. They had black metal and related type music. Fucking, it was mostly just dead here and shit. Death metal didn't ever get famous really, and death metal was still like '80s, '90s. It was like wasn't quite an evolution like thrash was. Thrash was an evolution in the punk, and death metal was just like rock and roll with Cookie Monster vocals and shit. Fucking heavy metal with Cookie Monster vocals. Fucking, that was pretty much the difference there. But yeah, fucking, I see they're trying to release it, but that debunks the lie that every 10 years there was like a generational upgrade and shit and stuff, because there's a story that every 10 years there was a new fucking genre type shit they sell. And supposedly rap was big, but I never met a single female who listened to rap, and so I don't know how big that actually was and shit. Like, maybe that girl Summer I hung out with in '94 was listening to like Will Smith type shit, but after that, don't think I ever met. I don't know. I never confirmed what that person actually liked. I just remember being in the car with them and going to the beach and listening to 95 South and shit like that. Onyx. I don't even know if they listen to Onyx. See what I'm saying? That would have technically 95 South MC Hammer was just kind of like 70s, 80s type music and shit. Kind of weird, like the promotion there. But I got like all this other music sent my life, so there was like underground stuff, nothing really advancing the speed of metal, and which was like the whole thing about thrash. You listen to all those documentaries. That's why Hetfield and Mustaine and Kerry King and all that stuff. That's the main thing they talked about. They're just wanting to play heavier, faster music, and that's what punks talk about too in their documentaries. They just wanted to play heavier, faster music and shit, more energetic and stuff. And again, I wonder if that doesn't have to do with keeping the brainwave frequencies low. Because seriously, I'm serious. I don't have to make up shit here. Fucking some weird shit happened when I was listening to 900 BPM music for an hour. And just very similar to when I listen to this 2 BPM stuff when I go to sleep. Fucking, it was like the opposite. I was kind of pissed off because minutes were turning into fucking hours and days, and I was like, damn. It lasted like 4 hours hardcore, and then I woke up the next day and I couldn't listen to other music anymore because it was so slow. And I was like getting worried. I was like, damn, dude, like, are we gonna have like 7,000 hour days from now on, or what? Like, this is not good. Fucking. I mean, I would have liked that when I was younger, but I don't know these days about having a long life and shit. Fucking having an extended life. Fuck. But my brain's processing. You see how if I'm slowing down time, everything else I can do, like a superhuman fucking level and shit. Like, I should have did martial arts then to test it, but I don't really give a shit anymore, so I'm not pressed about it. But I was thinking the whole time, like, if I like sit around and like study science right now, I'd probably figure out how to recreate the sun within like 6 days and stuff. Fucking, that's the only thing I was in. I'm pretty sure I wasn't far off from the truth, because wow, shit was like, it was like the world was moving slow and stuff, but it wasn't. I was moving like normal speed. But if I listen to that shit at a store, I'll be out of the store in no time. So you play that over the speakers in there, and there'll be like a mosh pit on aisle 4, and then people want to get out there and go mosh in the streets and shit. Fucking, I wouldn't be in there like shopping and buying for 2 hours. I mean, it seemed like 2 hours, but I'd be in there like 5 minutes and stuff. The thing is, they got that hate agenda towards it. I make fun of country music, but in reality, like, yeah, fucking, what's that? Who's that? Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf kind of makes some country-ish music, and I don't think that's bad. I just talk shit about it. Fucking, who cares why? Fucking, in that old outlaw country, there's a new outlaw country guy. He's pretty fucking good. So, I talk shit about it, but I can recognize, there's some good shit there and stuff. Fucking, I don't talk about like, it's fucking trash because it's, just like Metallica. It's like, well, I don't call them trash Metallica all the time, because they actually make really good rock music, but they're not Metallica, the thrash band, anymore and shit. Fucking, so, yeah, fuck, dude. Fuck, dude. And you still got, like I said, maybe America's thing was rap for a while. I don't know. I listened to a lot of that. I didn't meet lots of other people who listened to that. Fucking. And except for the times when I lived in the hood. And to be honest, I wasn't checking everyone out. And some of my friends were outside my house moshing the Cannibal Corpse and shit when I was blasting it inside. Fucking, so I really don't know everything everyone else is listening to. I wasn't in that side of town a lot. I had to go 4 hours away, 2 to 4 hours away to a different school. Walk 2 to 4 hours to a different school and shit, depending on which time frame we were in. Fucking, shit, man. Well, anyways, maybe they'll make better music. I'm working on faster shit. I was trying to in '95, and then everything else happens, so it just seemed like a total waste to even try. Fucking, and I didn't know the one secret, the magical secret that haters keep from you and shit. Maybe robots can play perfectly, but there's this one magical secret called a noise suppressor that eliminates hum and silences notes so you can play a new one faster and shit. And that would be a requirement for living beings to fucking play an instrument, except for a bass, because all that feedback and the release of the string makes the sound just as pressing the string does, and you got to be able to mute that to play it all, even stuff. But they don't tell you that for some reason. I think it could be because they're robots. They don't actually know what it feels like to play an instrument. That's a crazy thought, but crazy evidence supports crazy thoughts. Fucking. Anyways, fucking. Oh, it was a long time ago, really. I wanted faster music. Fucking, or wanted to create the new genre of music and shit. That was like 95, and fucking, well, you see, this is 2025. It's quite a little bit longer. Anyways, yeah, fucking, I don't even think I like music anymore, so it's hard to play music if there's no feeling to it. I can play that robot shit that robots can sell a lot of, like that basic, just, I guess I'm not wearing a Disturbed shirt today, huh? Like that fucking AC/DC Disturbed type shit. I can play robot shit pretty fucking good. But that's if I want to. You really have to like want to do something. You know, it's like being raped. You have to want to have sex, or it's rape and shit, and you don't like it. But other than that, you're gonna get raped and then go have sex with your boyfriend the next day. Fucking, you know, it's like you kind of have to want and like things in order to do them. But not that matters. Those are feelings, and no one cares about your fucking feelings and shit. That's you. That's your personal opinion. Were you raped or not? Well, it was sex. We can all agree on that. And that's good enough for everyone. Everyone can come together on that conclusion, right? Fucking. Well, yeah, in a way it's full. We're just kind of sitting here waiting for it to be over, because we don't expect, like, for the time machine to come and to erase our memories of everything. So, nor would we want a time machine and have to live on Earth even longer. That's always, you see how they corner you with that question. Everything they do is a trap. Every word they say is a trap. They have that, would you rather go back in time and relive your life, or get $1 million when you're 80 in a wheelchair and a vegetable? And it's like, well, I definitely don't want to go back and live through that again. I had nothing to do with that anyway, so how am I going to change stuff I was furiously working 24/7 to change that was still fucking happening? How could that happen? I literally quit school to go pursue life, and fucking that didn't change anything. What have I done? Went to a mountain and screamed to the bears, hey guys, let's make some new music. Here's a bass. You can play it. You're a bear. You're pretty fucking strong. Fucking, that'd be stupid. Now that'd be pretty cool. If we invent the time machine, we actually could do that, because if we invent the time machine, then we have the technology, we can install in chips in the bears in the mountains, and then the bears can play bass guitar better than us. Fucking amazing. Then they'll be the ones. Imagine that I'm going to go back in time and I'm going to invent the world's first bear band, and it's going to be better than any humans because they're going to be super bears and shit. Yeah, or do I want $1 million so I can buy it, put gold rims on my wheelchair, and fucking and buy some space and smoke some space crack while I'm spinning my spinners on my wheelchair and shit. Fucking, that's right, space crack's illegal. So yeah, I'll just be spinning my spinners and hope the nurses don't steal my gold fucking rims off my wheelchair and shit. Go outside and run over some fucking young punks with it and say, like, what you punks know about music? Yeah, you listen to that crap Metallica. We had Metallica back in the day, and then they got all old in the wheelchair, and they forgot about running over punks in wheelchairs and shit. Now they suck. Your music sucks these days, kids. You got that Metallica garbage. Sure, bro. You gotta laugh because that's all there is, right? Fucking. That's a fucking. There's always, like I said, it's always a trap. It's like they're offering you. Would you like? Well, if you don't like to eat poop, would you like this chocolate sprinkled poop, gourmet poop? It's organic over here. And you're like, are you even talking to me, bro? Like, I mean, like. Isn't there like a room for people like you where they keep you in to keep us safe from you and with your amazing ideas, or they got a room you can go work on your ideas and inventions over there and shit. You're gonna invent the time machine so you can go back in time and live your life again because you're obsessed with life and you want to keep living it and shit over and over. You're so great, the world's gonna need. Imagine if there was two of you. You go back in time and now there's two of you, and then the world will be like, oh my god, there's two of them. Wow, and all the ladies will be like, wow, that's so sexy. Do you know what two men can do to me at once? Fucking wow. There's always like some dumb shit in these responses. Just like the response you get here about making more talented music and shit like that. Fucking the response is, you're an invisible goat. Only invisible goats like talented people, and what you must do is date and listen to the music of whatever we force in your face and shit. You must date our people and raise our children while you're paying us to listen to our music type shit. That's what it really looks and feels like. And that's weird because I got pamphlets on that when I was 16, just a child coming into consciousness, coming into the real world with consciousness, fucking fully developed. And it's weird, I got pamphlets telling me there are people doing all that shit, and it just happens to be some of those words was like telling me what other people were actually doing in my life at the time, and it looked real close to like it was just telling me what other people were doing in my life. And I was just like, oh, this sounds hateful and fucked up, and it turns out to be like, well, yeah, it is pretty hateful and fucked up, isn't it, if it's happening? Fucking... What can you do, though? You're born into it, and it's everywhere, man. Fucking... And then, if you're lucky, you get to live a while ignoring it, accepting the fact that you're their god, and you're inventing them and saying they're real people, and so that's why they're raping you, because all those women getting raped or thinking about someone raping them, so someone rapes them and then they cry about it when it happens, right? That's, of course, you're not supposed to say that because it exposes the lies of how stupid these religions and anti-religions sound when they say stuff like that. But that's exactly what it's designed for. You got to realize that's exactly why we created the invisible goat. So when we rape someone, we can be like, nah, it was the invisible goat. So it's the same. Can you imagine how every word here is the same fucking thing we're talking about? It's the same fucking thing. The people raping people and then being like, no, that wasn't me, that was an invisible goat. Come hang out with me, let's have sex. It'll be better if you allow me to. Fucking are the same people inventing other religions who are telling you that a rapist exists because you're creating it because you want to be raped. And then not allowing you to talk about that, I can say everything up to that. They'll say everything up to that because it all falls apart. Just like if they went around saying, well, I didn't rape you, it was the invisible goat over there. If they go that far, it all falls apart, doesn't it? But there's no difference between saying, well, it was an invisible person who slapped you, and not me. It was the government who did it, and not me calling them and paying them to come do it to you. All of a sudden, but in reality, what does happen? You do get raped by this fucking and everything below that and shit. But they don't like it when you point it out. That's the whole point of inventing language, apparently, is to say, no, don't point that out, or you're an evil, visible goat. That's it's literally like written like you've trapped a terrorist in a room and he's just denying everything he says and making up a whole bunch of stories to claim that's not that person who just did everything you see him do. That's it. This is basic. I'm 6 years old. I'm coming into consciousness, and somehow, by the time I'm starting to come into consciousness, I'm already hearing like one or two sentences, and I'm like, this sounds like you got some sort of terrorist trapped in an interrogation room, and they're thinking of ways to get out of it and shit. You're not even noticing simple things like, we're eating and drinking flesh and blood here. Even terrorists don't do that. Terrorists are good people working to protect their people according to the definition of terrorism. The visual definition of what you can see versus the other definition. Basically, like I said before, terrorist is just a person who hasn't killed off the government and become the new government. And then you're the government. Just like cult is a person who hasn't killed off the current religions and become the religion and shit. And technically it's all the same thing, right? That's what it looks like a terrorist organization is. It looks like it's a bunch of politicians going to war and for their country and stuff. The founding fathers would have been terrorists, right? By many definitions. But by all definitions, if the word existed back then, they would have been labeled. They got labeled whatever that word was back then and shit. That's how they had wars and shit against the British. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. And then without all that, and if you're not busy telling, so you tell the person beside you, that wasn't me who just raped you, that was an invisible goat. And so how do you make them believe that? Well, you just keep talking. But a very important thing to do is you begin to attack them personally. You know, well, you're kind of trashy. Uh, you look like a sinner. Haven't you had sex with other people before? Are you sure it was me who raped you? You're a bad person, aren't you? What is it that you haven't done to other people? You know, de-escalating the situation, and that's a lot like that. It's a lot like the feeling I get from the music thing. It's like, oh, you're trashy. You want to take time to learn an instrument and play well. You want to be like Yngwie Malmsteen, who started when he was 6 and played for 30 fucking 50 fucking years and shit. That's so trashy. You want to be like Beethoven, who was a 6-year-old who all he did his whole life was fucking make music and shit. You want to be like Mozart, you know, fucking. That's what it sounds like to me and shit when I hear that. And it's like, oh, you're so trashy and shit. Fucking. They're like, well, you don't have to learn how to play music in order to make music. Well, if you're a living being, unfortunately, we don't get born with every skill set. Like I was born with the mouth and the reading and language. Unfortunately, the worst fucking skill sets to learn in a world where language is the fucking enemy. Fucking. Language is the weapon of the enemy. Fucking. And you just. It's like being born with flesh and the enemy has guns and bombs. It's like, oh, it's the worst world to be born in, ain't it? Because I just happen to be born in the one body that robots get armor-coated titanium, and I get this flashback that they could flick paper clips at and it shred me to pieces and shit. Fucking. We don't get born with all that shit, fucking, apparently. But, they act like living people are like them who can just get the updates and have auto-generated music and shit. And even when you view it from that angle, it makes it seem even more hostile than it already feels. And they're already whining about, you know, you're the devil if you like good music and you like you like talented musicians and shit. And it's like it's like the priest and shit. You're the devil if you want to do something in life because, well, I guess you're good if you do absolutely not. You're the best if you do absolutely fucking nothing and shit. Fucking. Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely hostile and shit. Fucking. I spent my whole life trying to get away from them. And for some reason, they get forced back. All my memories I actually have are like, I'm walking around school looking for someone fucking who listens to the music I do and shit. And then I'm walking around the city, and then I'm going to a new city and walking around that one, and I'm driving to other cities. And and then I give up after a few years, like, yeah, zero from zero. Expecting one to appear in a zero is like nothing. But at the same time, you got people in your life weirdly doing things where you would leave the city permanently when you were 15 because you bought a car, but it's technically not your car because you were paying someone else to fix their car. You're paying your parent to do that. So then you get trapped in the city where you're just walking around looking for someone who does anything you're interested in, and that's all it is. It's looking at grass all day and shit, fucking, and being bummed the fuck out. And then them telling you that everything's wrong with you is because you're trash. Not because they're trash. Not because they failed kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, every grade. And had to create laws to pass them up even though they failed. Not because they listen to trashy music and you don't want to be around them. Not because you are a 14-year-old creating your own business like your father who owns many businesses and works for their people, Jeffrey Epstein, fucking, no, you're the trash. And the whole system works together to tell you that too, fucking, whole system. The Religo-hospital-ment, the suits, the lots of money, little brains people, fucking, lots of money, little brains, serial killers, fucking mass murderers. See, serial. David Stein points out very well. There's conquerors, there's serial killers, and then there's a person who kills someone. And then totally separate fucking levels of world domination each of them will be able to achieve. Unfortunately, Charles Manson didn't get to be president, but he'd be related to Trump anyways and Biden, so would anything change? Probably not. Well, he did kill a Hollywood producer, supposedly. It could have been an entirely fabricated story. Kind of weird they would kill their own people. Then again, they rape their own children, so I don't think they really care about anything, right? I mean, they sent their one person to die that one time to set me up, so, you know, it was their child and shit they sent to kill. Fucking, yeah. Facts are facts, though. And then I'm supposed to like be a little bit. I'm supposed to be a cock like the whole time. I'm supposed to be their cock and shit. And the weird thing is they're literally my cocks. Like bitches bringing me their wives and shit like that. Which is kind of disgusting because I'm like spending my time looking for something else, and I don't want to stoop down to their levels and shit. Because that's their whole, you know. Can't get you in the gay bar if you're not gay, and they're not figuring out ways to do it. Can't get you in the pulpit if they can't figure out how to make you gay. Fucking. And for some reason, that's a huge thing against humanity that they've spent thousands of years working around in very complicated ways to legalize it 6,000 years ago under the name circumcision, fucking, and then slowly bring it into, you know, use the Italians to force it on people, and then they get collapsed, and so apparently people don't like those things going on, and fucking, and then up until America, late America, fucking, that wasn't like a thing talked about except for in Asia, who was just, you know, feminized by America and shit. Technically, that was Japan. And oh yeah, you had the Karl Marx fucking slaughter in China too, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, they were both about the same time, so the fact that I could see it by the 1980s fucking suggests that that's the reason. That's it might have popped up sometime before that, shortly before that, not a long-term history before that. But, yeah, fuck it, dude. What do you do, man? Fucking. What do you do? What do you do to erase your memory? I try my best every day, and I can forget how to walk, but I can't forget these important keynotes to all the storyline that's been pushed in my fucking way and shit. Fucking for some reason I can fucking stumble. You can erase my memory enough that we're erasing our ability to walk, but we can't forget about Earth. The terror it is, fucking. The terror no one wanted. Fucking. Fuck, dude. This is crazy. course, if they're robots, then there is someone behind them. And that person is to blame for it. Fucking, I'm pretty sure they are. Some of them, especially the ones who have to say they is real and living beings all the time. That is, it's like a rapist having to say they aren't a rapist all the time and shit. Fucking, no one else has to go. No one goes around saying they ain't a dinosaur and shit because no one thinks they are. So you only have to say things if you're up to something and you're worried someone's on to you, really. That seems to be a huge thing. You get to learn from isolating yourself. You see, if any of those events actually had fell into place, I wouldn't isolate myself and I wouldn't come to the knowledge that my life is being set up by other people and shit. If anything else happened, and then if I did, like, by the time 2020 rolled around, if I was with someone, they would be out of my life because I wouldn't trust them anymore. Fucking, because I would just assume they were in on it anyways. Fucking, and they'd be gone. Of course, it's never that easy to get rid of them, especially if you accidentally end up being around one more in a couple days. But I was gone in 2020. I left in 2020, and there wouldn't have been an issue there. And they were like, "But I love you," and be like, "Yeah, well, what do you want from the store? I gotta take this last load of clothing out to the car to pack it. What do you want from the store? I'll go get you something to drink, and I'll be right back." And then they'll be like, "No, you're gonna leave. You take that stuff in from the car. You come in now, or else I'm gonna kill you." Fucking literal shit that's been happening. I'm surprised it didn't happen when I was 14 and I left my house. I think it's because that person hated that other person more than their love for control of me, and I got to slip away. That's the only possible thing I can think of, because I always look back at that like, wow, I didn't get killed in that situation. That's weird right there. That's some fucking crazy shit right there. Fucking, I actually got out there. I didn't get beaten. I didn't get killed. I think maybe they were reverting to passive aggressive, and they thought I'd be like right back or something. It was one. It was one of the two. I think maybe they just wanted to beat that other person so bad they were focused on beating them, and maybe they thought beating that person would make them say I can't come with them because they're going to get beat up more if they get beat up if they let me go live with them and shit. Fucking. That's weird because it doesn't line up with anything except for the continual moving me around to change environments. Fucking. Anyways. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I even like music anymore. And I know it's like they're trying to force me to play music. Isn't that weird? The humans didn't want me to play music I wanted. And then when I stopped liking music, it's like people are like, have been trying to force me to do it. That's a weird thing I see too. So it hasn't ended and shit. Fucking, it doesn't end until their hearts stop beating, apparently. And I know everyone's gonna cry and whine. Robot computer software does that. I already went to the classes for the psychology classes explaining to me how their software operates and what it's gonna do next, every move it's ever going to be able to fucking make, and every response it's ever gonna be able to fucking have and shit. Fucking. But I can still notice its patterns. That's a weird pattern there. I spent 40 fucking years, 30 years at least, trying to prevent me from being around music. And then and then trying to force me into music. Like, I guess they were trying to force me into music at the church when I was 6 too. You know, again, it was like music I'm not interested in, simpleton, gothic. It wasn't even goth. That's not even goth music. Fucking Adam's Family theme song. Playing instruments that I don't like around people I feel uncomfortable around, and buildings I feel uncomfortable in. Fucking brought there by people that make me feel uncomfortable. Fucking. I guess they were trying to force me to play their music back then. Fucking a continued pattern. It doesn't stop until the heart stops, apparently, and shit. Once in 2020, you see all this wasted talking. In 2020, I came to the realization, well, someone's heart has to stop in order for all this to stop, because it's all or nothing for them, and they're robots who are incapable of changing and shit. And it doesn't matter. We don't want them to change. We're not concerned with them. We never have been worried about what they're doing. They can go do it. Best of luck. Hopefully they go find a place to do it with people who want to do it with them. Fucking, you got no personal rights as far as that. No living being has personal rights as far as that. I mean, just think of the native ancestors on this land. Did they have a right to live in a house and choose who to date? Do the Palestinians have a right to choose who they date and who they talk to when they go around? No. Fucking. And then I get past pamphlets when I'm 15 and don't care about none of it. Fucking telling me that that's what people are doing. Is going around and forcing you to date them and be their friends and kill you off and shit. Fucking. And I already understood that because I was already told that's what happened to my ancestors and shit. Fucking. And that's how we ended up living on this land. Fucking. But just, there it is. Big whoop, right? Fucking big whoop. It just is there. It happened. Wow. Now we can talk about it and they can laugh about it because you're fucking talking about it and they got away with it. Fucking wow. Amazing. Well, bigger thing here, I think, is also not only do we pretty much not like music because all the reasons, a million reasons, but it seems like some slave shit, right? Like all the slave cults, they are trying to force you to play their simple bingo bebop shit. And then, so that's like slave shit, right? If it's associated with slave cult or slave talk, it's slave shit. And they seem to be obsessed with that. Like, the people who didn't want me to play more advanced music wanted me to learn martial arts. It's still slave labor and shit. Fucking, to be a monkey jumping around for enslavers and shit. Enslavers enslave animals and create circuses with them. That's what a circus is. It's a bunch of sissies who have to band together to capture a tiger and a lion who will otherwise kill them, as they should be for trying to capture a lion and a tiger. Fucking. And then they force it to jump through hoops so they can get money for it and shit. Fucking. And it seems to be the majority of it here and shit. And the smarter you are, the less you should do any of it. Because they're stupid and they're going to go nowhere without someone else designing and building everything for them. They're going to be trying to figure out how to recreate fire and shit if you just let them figure out a way where they can go be by themselves and with each other in their own room and not leave that room. Fucking. It seems like a great method. That's probably why they're scared of camps, you know? That's probably where that fear talk at camps come from, is because they think about the solutions to themselves and they're like, well, people like us should probably be locked away in fucking camps and shit. Fucking isolated from humanity. They're probably going to want to do that. We should preempt it and say Satan already did that, and don't be Satan. Fucking seems to be a lot of their shit is just preempting what should happen and shit. They're projecting their fear onto the world, and then they're preempting it by, running up to you on the streets like, are you Satan? Satan puts people like me in camps and doesn't let me run around raping and killing everyone and forcing you to raise my children and invading your nation and shit. That's what Satan does. Like Iran, they don't let them go rape and kill them, and they don't let them invade their nation, and Iran's the great Satan and shit, right? Fucking. Although they're still promoting like the same book, so my brain's like, that's like really low frequency. That's like if you listen to 40 BPM, you can't figure that shit out. Fucking people don't even listen to 40 BPM. They're just making up excuses as they go along with that shit. Fucking. Yeah, well, great Satan, Iran, and talented musicians and people who do actual work and shit. Fucking. Who else is Satan? Oh, yeah, people who don't like their agendas. People don't like Donald Trump, right? Because he's a Bible salesman, so anyone who doesn't like him is an adversary, is an invisible evil goat. Oh. What a waste. What a waste. All these great, precious memories. And then they erase your memories when you come here. And you know why they're doing that. So the vampire can get his foot back in the door again and shit. That's why that's happening and shit. So imagine you think you're a slave now and it'll be over in 40 years, so oh well, put up with it. I was like, no, you had your memory erased when you came here and you're a living being. They've done this to you before and shit. You've been a slave a long fucking time and shit. You just don't want to hurt your ego or either you're profiting off of it or both. Imagine an ego blow and a profit loss, or two of the. I was like getting hit with a nuclear missile and a cluster bomb all at the same time. Some people, I'm never concerned with shit like that. Someone came up to me and was like, you're a slave. Like, you're doing exactly what they told you to do. I'd be like, oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Well, thanks for pointing that out. And I was listening to their Hollywood music, and my brain was melting, and I can't feel positive, like they say. I can't feel positive if I don't feel positive about what's going on around me, right? There's some truth to that. You're inventing the world around you. You're feeling how you feel. If someone rapes you, that's up to you whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. At the end of the day, no one cares. And the thing is, it's the emotions in your head who are deciding whether you want to be raped or not. If you marry someone who tricks their way into your life and you choose to stop loving them because you figured it out, well, that's your fault if you don't love them anymore, right? You're making these emotions up in your head And, well, that's your fault now that you don't love the person who never loved you. Fucking, that's all up to you. You can keep loving them. Lots of people do. That's a very good example right there of that. That's even more popular than the rape thing. Fucking, you, lots of people know that. And so they choose to stay with a person, or try to work it out with a person they know they don't like. They figured out never liked them, and they probably knew from the start, and they were just like, well, they're lying, so maybe they're actually telling the truth, and I don't know what I'm talking about. That's, for me, that's always how that works. That's why I started testing people earlier on to the things that matter rather than letting them slowly expose invisible things that don't even exist. That works out well, don't it? Waiting for invisible people and shit. Waiting for invisible things to happen. Fucking. You can see that with relationships. Fucking, there's the story that people stay together because one person is a cuck. And the thing is, oh, the cuck still feels great and loves the person. And, yeah, it's going to feel worse if you don't fucking do it. But then that's where mind control comes in. You better keep putting up with it because, take your LSD, fry your brain, forget all that stuff you know about that person, and then now you can be happy because your brain is melted, and it's up to you to be positive about everything that's going on. You see, but if that were true, these little slime bags would tell you that. It'd be simple. You go into the police, you'd be like, I was raped, and the police would be like, well, what's wrong with that? And you'd be like, well, I don't like the person. And they'd be like, so you're a bigot, you're a hater, you hate this person, or you just dislike them a little bit. And why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? You don't like sex? Oh, why don't you like that? What's wrong with that? It doesn't feel good? Why doesn't it feel? Because you don't want it to feel good? Is that why? Why doesn't your therapist tell you that? Because they're the ones they're the ones who fucking created that shit thousands of years ago to legalize and monopolize. Not only that, but mind control. Fucking to promote the idea it's great, and going too far, just a little too far, hasn't been accepted yet. They push that envelope, and next thing you know, they'll be legalizing sex with prostitute animals and shit, as long as they can benefit from it, right? Prostitution is actually made to a point where they legalize it, and then they have secured it only for the rich people, like Elon Musk and Trump and Howard Stern and Hollywood producers who make porn. So they actually went, because that's one of the most precious things on earth and shit. So, but they can't quite come out with it, so they gotta manipulate it. Not like the drug dealing where they can just change the word and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna tax your tea today because caffeine can kill people, and we're gonna have to control the monopoly on that and shit. Fucking, even more important is the monopoly on religion and mind control. You don't hear a word about that, do ya? They don't allow one little peep to come up about that. The only thing they make is this Hitler invention where someone invented a new religion against them. Which doesn't, it looks like Hitler and them were them, and he set aside priests too, and then they're all over, so he clearly didn't kill them, so there's no evidence that even happened. Fucking, and isn't that true? Isn't that weird? telling you, there's a bunch of physical evidence it didn't happen. And you can visually see in America, it looks like that. I don't think anyone was genocided except for the Americans, the actual Americans that they replaced. Fucking that the actual Americans that what's his name, Minecraft boy, what's Einstein's name? Einstein of music, fucking Tenacious D. Yeah, the actual Americans that Einstein culturally appropriated and shit. Tenacious D culturally appropriated. Fucking, it's kind of weird. It's almost like everything is the same thing, and the same thing is just a group of people going around telling you that what you see isn't real, and they're the greatest people on earth, and they never did nothing wrong, and but they're really genocide, mass murder, and fucking pedophiles and scumbags and shit, and fucking haters, and because they hate everyone because they're better than them. Fucking kind of is weird that that's like every story has this possible option. Even if you have no evidence, the evidence you do have points to there being this possible option and shit. But most of this shit is pretty evidence filled. There's links to it. You know, the same word, the same people are involved. Every time you see the same gang and standing around when some windows are getting broken and shit, and some houses are getting burned down, you see that a couple hundred times. All that means is that gang is the one breaking the windows and burning the houses down. Even if you had proof 100 out of 200 times that someone else was partially involved, at least. Fucking that's basic investigation. Well, you see that 7 times, and you pretty much you have a warrant to go apprehend those people and shit. Fucking, yet alone you see it 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000 times over thousands of years. Fucking, usually you see the events, and within a week or 7 months, you got the warrant to apprehend this group, to interrogate them. Who does interrogations? It's the Religo-government. Fucking. That's why the Religo-government-hospital. That's why the religion isn't investigating the hospitals, and the hospitals isn't investigating the religions, and the government isn't investigating either. Because it's all the same 3 things. Science is supposed to be about investigating religion. That's the only reason it can even exist. Atheism and their religion of atheism. And then the only reason the government is supposed to exist, they were invented at the same time, but people think the government was invented because of America. Right? They were told, they were created this fairy tale that they were freedom of religion, and then they extrapolate a lie from that there's some sort of other thing other than freedom to practice cult rituals as you choose, unless, which ain't even real, because there are no religions that they don't run, so there is no freedom to practice cult rituals you choose. It's freedom for the cult who owns everything to do whatever they want. Free domination. That's why it's called free dominate. Free dommy. Fucking freedom for women to dominate. Women like Howard Stern to dominate men and shit. Fucking dominate the whole world. Fucking Iran, Palestine, fucking Australia, Venezuela, Mexico. For some reason, they're acting like they're dominating Europe. But then again, too many links between other nations to expect it. a place that they colonized just 200 years ago isn't them. Fucking. Yeah. See how music is a tool. That makes it all the more reason why it probably shouldn't listen to it or like it and shit, because it's just like it's like opiate. Like, would you need something because you're trapped here and nothing's been done about it? So like, it's not that the drugs are bad. It's the people in control of the drugs are bad. And yeah, but it really is. I fully support book burnings and shit like that, as long as we get them all. As long as we get every last one of them. I'm fully on the CD burnings. As long as we get every last one of them, we start over, and then we can analyze it without 6,000 years of huffing and puffing from the dragon. And then we can see we'll be able to see right away when the dragon starts, when the first CD comes out, and it's a huffing, and it's a puffing, it's a blowing all this smoke and steam. And you'll be like, hey, look, they're doing it again. But with 6,000 years of mind control and manipulation and computer AI generated bullshit, you're just draining your blood for them. You're paying them. Imagine the fools who pay for these books and movies and CDs, and you're paying for your own slavery. Listen to the CD, be a good slave, work hard. Oh yeah, it's great music. We're working hard. Take all my money. I gotta go work harder so you can get some more money. I know you got 3 Lambos. Those are expensive. We gotta get some more money, man. Come run over me with the Lambo so my girlfriend can see how cool your Lambo is, and I can get a tattoo of the tire mark on my leg, bro. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, and then the women like that, the 40 Shades of Grey shit. They'd be like, can you keep running over me too? That would feel so good. Ooh, he's so sexy. He's such a strong, sexy, rich man. Ooh, that car. Ooh, it just ran over my leg. Ooh, it broke it right off. Ooh, it's so sexy. It's so sexy. Come run over my leg, Elvis Presley. Isn't it the first thought that someone comes into your head when someone's a groupie and shit? Fucking, it's like, wow. I bet you this person would want them to run them over with their car so they could have a memory of them and shit, fucking, and pay them to do it too. Be like, I'll buy the Lambo for you if you'll just run over my leg with it. I'll go work, and then in 15 years, when I got enough money saved up, I'll live outside in a box and save up all my money. In 15 years, you can come run over my leg and give me a tattoo of the sexy man. Sexy man. That's what this is literally what that feels like. I'll be watching girls I'm dating fucking obsess over, watch their TV and watch their or should I say, I think I'm more familiar with other people who are married and their husband or ex-husband isn't around and they're obsessing over. But I did have that last person who went to mail reviews and shit. It's like, ooh yeah, fucking you're girlfriend material, and I'm cuck material. We're a fit together. You might want to go find a cuck today because it's not gonna last very long. I already decided by the end of our first date that we're not actually dating. We're just gonna see how long this would have actually worked if we didn't have any values and morals or brains to see where this was going to head. Anyways, fucking, see that shit and you're like, wow. And then that's so popular. I imagine how popular that must be if I've seen it, right? And the few close interactions I've had, enough to get in someone's house and watch them for a few days to see these activities occur and shit. Fucking. But of course you knew that. Like the first time you hear someone running around like, oh my god, you know, you go to a concert. You don't even have to meet him. You go to a concert and there used to be videos of people fainting, like Elvis shakes his dick on stage and a bunch of men and some girls like faint because they're like orgasming from him shaking his pelvis on stage. And I was like, what they're really thinking of is they're thinking of money. They're really not thinking of the man or the music. They're definitely not thinking of the music because they'd have to be deaf. Fucking, and what they're thinking of is the image of money and power. And that's just like the car running over their leg. It's an image of money and power that they're a bitch and this person can dominate them because they're rich enough to pay an army to kill them if they feel the need to, type shit. Fucking wow. And so and turn that around to how Jack Black or Einstein can get a girlfriend. They couldn't unless they use this one simple trick of calling everyone else trash and for the devil and saying they're fucking geniuses and advertising themselves and their media, each other's media, and then you're preying upon these lifeless zombies or like all the more power to them, to be honest. You get those lifeless zombies, you need to date. You are fit for those people. Like, you definitely need to be dating those people. But keep on. But the thing is they date them and then they drop their kids off on us and shit. And fucking, like Trump, Musk, very obvious. I got pamphlets from them on them. When I was 15, the pamphlets included all that shit. Like I said, it's all real simple, so a pamphlet is all it takes and shit. You can listen to the radio broadcast or read the next magazine and shit, but it's pretty much the same thing fucking being said there. Ah. Yeah. Once they get ran over, they pay them to get ran over by the car. You gotta take care of them the rest of their life and shit because they don't want them. No one with any fucking sanity fucking would want something like that around them. And then fucking, and then someone's got to pay their hospital bills, and it ain't gonna be the person they just paid to run over their leg and shit. So they get a tattoo of them and fucking crazy. Crazy, but true. It's true what you see on it. What you see is true. Obviously, none of what I say is true because not everyone, obviously there's that pamphlet and there must have been someone who written those pamphlets, and then there's some old people would say shit like back in the day. People, older generations always say something different that's lost and forgotten, and I had some real old parents, so their parents were real old and shit, and one of them would say shit like avoid that Hollywood plays, and I think they knew what they were talking about because they had modeling pictures in a time when there wasn't a man on every corner trying to pick up women and to get them to pose naked for Instagram and shit. Fucking, they were saying shit like, oh, don't listen to that shit, don't watch that shit on TV. Fucking go outside and touch grass instead. It'll be better for your brain. Avoid the Hollywood and watch out for the pedos type shit. Fucking fucking do good at math type shit. Fucking. It wasn't a lot, but it was enough to remember that someone actually had spoke those words. I never heard it again. Read books and not that I'm saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying don't watch TV and read books. And these days I'm a little beyond. Like I said, it was just a little bit. It was like, yeah, I don't watch that shit on TV. And then I turn on the TV and I'm like, oh, check it out. It's a Bigfoot sighting. And now I look back and I'm like, that's why I said don't watch that TV. Because it probably is not a Bigfoot. And probably is not. Because we've never seen it. And you can't extract numbers from zero. Zero remains a constant. So the likelihood that we break physics and turn zero into infinity is obviously a new age religion that we're going to invent Bigfoot. Of all the things, I haven't seen actual slime monsters, and fucking invisible people and big feet, fucking dinosaurs. I haven't actually seen anything that doesn't look human or animal on the planet. Definitely things that don't act human, but they still come in a human shell and shit. Fucking. Well, anyways, we're going places, guys. We're going places. Remember back when I was winning awards from the president for writing when I was 8 years old. You might remember all those follow-up books I wrote. All those famous books I wrote after that. We're going places. You remember when I was second place in the school marathon when I was 7? And yeah, I think I was 10. Fucking and all those gold medals I won after that. Yeah, we're going places, aren't we? Fucking. You remember all those videos I made where I was punching steel and going into gyms and breaking the chains on every heavy bag the first time I hit them and shit. Fucking. We're going places. It just goes to show you, too, that I don't think talent is what's making America exist and Hollywood exist. That stuff right there boils straight into that shit. In fact, my experiences in between that are tied into how all those events are tinged with people forcing me out of that direction. Imagine a person who's winning awards from the president being forced out of school, and when I should have graduated college by the time I was 12 and shit. Fucking. But events happen, and the weird thing is when one of those events happened, we were like first becoming fully conscious day to day, and it forces me into free roam camera mode and moves. It's not free roam because I'm not controlling it, but the camera moves over to a different room and we listen in to the people talking. So it's like specifying, like, listen up, these people are talking about you and shit. And I'm actually assuming that's two things. That's not only derailing my education, but it's separating me from the female who's talking to me, who would have probably been pretty smart if she was developing the skills to want to talk to males, or she was just being friendly, one of the two, when she was like 7. Fucking. And also her name was Sonia, so she might have been smart. Fucking. But there's a pattern there of people who don't look like them being kicked or being separated from my life, in a couple different ways. And that's like the first one. And it's weird. It like forces me. I wouldn't really remember that if we didn't go into third person free roam camera mode and shit. Fucking. It highlights the possibilities of what was happening at that point in time in the real. If there was a different underlying reason for these events occurring and shit that lined up with all this shit that later is forced into my life, including pamphlets fucking detailing me events that are mirroring the things that are happening around me and shit. Fucking. Yeah, fucking. That might be why I was getting moved around a lot too. There's a girl who I was like becoming friends with when I was 14, and then we had to move out of that neighborhood pretty fast. And it's not I liked her like that, but it's like who would make a better person to like than a friend, even if you're not attracted to them. Like. I mean, it's not like I wasn't attracted to her, but I was just like I was looking for something else. But it's like if you become friends with someone, actual friends and shit, and you're hanging out with them, like that's a little bit different than any relationship I've ever had that was designed to fail and shit. It still wouldn't have been applicable. Fucking, it still wouldn't have been anything I wanted, but I don't think so. I don't know. I don't know what they listen to. Fucking. But I find that weird that a lot of times when I would meet people, those events would occur. Meet people who weren't them. Who weren't the other people who are always there. And bringing in people who I'm not interested in at all once I'm making decisions for myself, or thinking I am. Trying to fucking. Anyways, seems kind of wasteful, but hey, that also lines up with the whole hate other people. I mean, this is the personality of some of them is they hate other people and shit. You got to keep them out of my life. Type shit. Fucking. Which if I was actually like choosing a person to be around, I would want that. I would like choose this person to be around for life, and we wouldn't have other people in our lives because they would be smart enough to realize that you didn't choose any of those people and they're all causing problems anyways. Like I know someone, family's trying to rip them apart and they just don't care they're with the person they like. Makes perfect fucking sense. Anyone with a brain who is not trying to manipulate you, is not trying to drag a whole bunch of other people in your life. Those people are trying to amass groups of people to control them for their own purposes, not form a network bond, a relationship, and a business partnership with you. Those are people trying to form a business partnership with everyone. And generally that leads to the Cleopatra shit where they're not business partners, they're providers, they're business providers. Fucking like, why don't tigers and lions bring a bunch of hyenas into the den with them? And good example right there. Why don't any animal do that? Why don't birds bring cats up into the den with their fucking young ones? Why don't birds bring other birds into their bird nests with them and shit? That was like 101 animal shit. And these people, of course, are saying, no, don't do that. Have 10 husbands. You know, every man should have 10 husbands and one wife. And maybe 2 or 3 women on the side type shit. And bring in all their kids, have 50 kids type shit. Fucking, yeah, pretty much everything here. Like all the shit you hear. And then that pamphlet, again, it all boils down to like a pamphlet I'm handed when I'm 15. It's explaining to me shit that's happening around me and stuff. And then saying it's like invisible cartoon characters. And technically, it was paralleling some events happening in my life that I'm pretty sure were happening just real close to what I was talking about. Because it fits the bill for a lot of this shit. Fucking. But especially, I always thought that shit was weird and didn't know what was happening. They made it weird too. They specifically made it weird, so I'd never talk to either of them again in the end by causing some problems at the end. You know, like create a fake relationship and then put just to waste time and then put a permanent end to both those fake relationships. Fucking. Just like the fake music. Fucking. Man. Well, I'm making these videos because I ain't making. Hopefully, that's enough slave work, right? Because we ain't making music anymore. Fucking. You gotta find something to do to work for these slave masters, though, don't you? So I'm making some videos and I'll hit myself on the head with a vape pen. How about that? Isn't that how they make money back in the 80s? Isn't that what every comedian did? Was Three Stooges, they hit themselves in the head. What's the matter? Are they looking for people with more talent or what? That's not talented enough. I can't hit myself in the head with a vape pen and we sell that in Hollywood for $1 billion, $1 trillion. Fucking, why not? That was so stupid. The people are so stupid they like that shit back then. Are they not that stupid anymore? Fucking, it could be more funny than a person making stupid faces and hitting themselves in the head with the vape pen. Look at that, I can do both at the same time. Imagine this. There you go. $10 million comedy special right there, bro. Trying to hit the stage, put on the fucking spotlight over here at the casino where all the professionals go and shit. Fucking right across the street. I ain't even gotta go far, I can just walk across the street. Hey, here's a cool thing you've never seen a comedian do. But not part of the act anyways, right? I'm gonna drink water. Check it out. Have you guys ever thought about water and how we drink it? You turn the cup up and you go, water. Delicious. See, there you go. I already got fucking 5 minutes of the skit down and shit. Fucking. I think I'm doing too much work. I'm exhausted. I'm gonna need a nap. I'm gonna have to take a bunch of drugs, go to sleep. Fucking. Gonna need a nap and shit. There you go, look at that. While I'm pouring water in my mouth, it's hard to think about all this shit, so that's a good solution too. It's like a drug itself. Water is like a drug itself, right? While I'm doing this, I can't think about it anymore because there's water in my eye for some reason. I don't know, I think an invisible goat was doing it. Damn it, why you guys you guys owe me some money. Why you guys letting goats come in and do that shit to me? That's fucked up, bro. You guys are fucked up. You guys are real fucked up for that. Fucking, I should make a joke about that because someone might take it someday as other shit. It wasn't a joke. Any of that other shit was a joke. Fucking made up shit. Fucking gonna run with that, right? We'll get some new age video update about how you shouldn't blame invisible goats for pouring water in your eye. Give me some money and repent. People know the truth. It wasn't an invisible goat. You know, to be fully enlightened, you gotta be honest with people. And except for everything else you're honest about, you gotta shut up about that. But when it involves you manipulating people, that's the problem. Because we're not going to benefit from that. Fucking blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That a continual stream. Well, if there's anything you can take from this video, it's you're the problem. And you're causing all the problems on Earth. Each one of you, you're causing all the problems. And how does that work? Well, technically, if your robot's on a Wi-Fi network, that would be true. But if you're unique individual living beings, then that can't work. But I'm selling you my DVD set these days, and my books and my lapel pins, and I need you to buy them. And the fastest way to get you to buy a product is by telling you you're the problem and I have the solution, and that solution is buy all my stuff so I can get some money, and that's the fastest way to get some money. So obviously you didn't write down in the comments the links to the stuff, to the books on the website. You didn't create. You see how you're creating all these problems for everyone else, and then you're blaming it on someone. You got your excuses, don't you? I'm sure you've already coming up with all these excuses, bro. You didn't tell me to make a website. You didn't tell me to sell the books. You didn't tell me to put the link down below. Excuses. Excuses. What about the t-shirts? Is the link for all the t-shirts going to be down below? Huh? In the description? Do you think they're there? Have you done that yet? Have you put the links down in the description for my t-shirts? No. Is it because you're busy watching this video instead of doing something? Is that why? Have you ever thought about that? How are you going to buy my t-shirts if you're watching the video? You're going to have to go to work, get some money, buy the t-shirt. Right? And there you are, moving on. You're supposed to be putting the links in the video, and now you're out there working to make money to buy the t-shirts and the links that you were already supposed to post. The next thing you'll ask me, where are the t-shirts coming from? Like I'm a genius. You're telling me I'm a retard. And I'm supposed to know everything now. I'm a retard, but I'm supposed to know everything. Where the shirts come from, where the links coming from. Why not? You see, the only reason this whole program hasn't gone program, aka genocide, another name for genocide and takeover, cleansing as they call it. The whole reason this whole program doesn't advance to telling rape people who are dating people they don't like that the problem is they don't like the person, which they are telling that. It's the whole thing is you just end all the rape epidemic by reminding people that if they like having sex, it's not rape. It's in their head. That they're inventing negativity. And hey, these people are the masters of promoting the positivity stuff. So, I mean, they say you get what you give. Fucking, at this point in time, you analyze stuff enough, you can find humor in the fucking ass clown circus and shit. Fucking, but they don't do that because I think there's a little system there of therapy and religion and LSD would fall apart if they just took it that far. That's what that whole pushing the envelope is about with these people and shit. In the 1980s, they gave me a porno mag that had transsexuals in Asia in it, in one of the ads. So I knew that existed back then. But for some reason, it didn't exist in America because they had to have a long rollout over the last 100 years. It looks like it's been a rollout over the last couple thousand years to get there and shit. But they made it there, didn't they? And yeah, fucking. And then what they do is they'll promote that to you, and then they'll tell you you're inventing that, right? You invented all those people, but they're real living people who have their own thoughts and make their own decisions. And just the endless, even this video, it's just your mind is being sucked from your fucking brain. Gone. The gray matter gone. The blood, you watch this video and you just lost 3 hours of your life. You're never going to get back. That's 3 hours of blood. That's a lot of blood, a lot of money. Elon Musk makes about what, $50,000 in 3 hours. So you just lost $50,000 because you had to listen to someone talk about this stuff that they're doing. Talk about, you had to listen to someone explaining how people are stealing $50,000 from you with these hogwash, literacy, media, bullshit, and agendas they got going on type shit. Fucking. So even now I've become part of it, and no doubt. In my shoes, I can clearly see where you become part of it by becoming the only person talking about it and shit. Because that's definitely what you're not supposed to do, or they eat your flesh and drink your blood, but that's not what is going on. What's going on? There's a reason why they don't come. Like, it's Sunday morning. Wake up, kids. It's time to go eat God's flesh and drink his blood. There's a reason they don't take it that far. The kids would be hyped. I was hyped when I was a kid. That's the best part, is drinking the blood. Because it tastes like grape juice. Fucking. That's the best part. I was looking forward to that every day. It was about 11:45 in the service when that would occur. And I'll try to see if anyone else didn't drink their blood, and I grab that blood too, get a double blood transfusion going on there, maybe a triple one. You go around after the service and look for more blood to drink. That was definitely the best part, but for some reason no one like got me amped up by being like, come on, we're gonna go drink blood. Fucking, it might just be a little too far in the program to go that far with it and shit, right? Fucking, I think that's what a therapist can't sell you help if their little scam falls apart. New Age can't sell you videos and LSD if they tell you that you're the words they're saying are 100% translated to, when you're being raped, it's because you want to be raped, and it's your fault you don't like it because you are being negative, a negative Nancy, and you want positivity only, and it only feels bad because you want it to feel bad. There's a reason it goes all the way to the end, and they can't make the final mile. They can't hit that, run out of steam. And it's not because they're out of steam. The steam engine's been rolling for 6,000 years. They're not out of steam. What it is they're out of track. And there's going to be no more traction. And if the train racks, they lose all the valuables on the fucking train. That's what it is. And that's what it seems to be. I mean, it's very simple. How is it everything I just spoke tied to one simple concept that's been promoted and shit? Fucking uh, government, Religio-hospital-ment. That's right. I gotta remember that. It's hard because it's like which one sounds best? Because it gotta sound good, right? Which one just sounds like it works? Religio-hospital-ment system. Fucking. It took all that time and all those years to divide them into separate categories when they used to be one, and then Sean comes along and it was like, oh, look, let's just get rid of all that hot air. And fucking away it goes, like turning on a fan and watching it blow away. There's more to it than that. Because the Religio-hospital-ment system doesn't include the media, which is part of the Religio-hospital-ment system. Obviously, how do you even know hospitals exist? Because the media tells you every 5 seconds to go buy something from them so they can pay their Lamborghini payments. Fucking, how do you know the government exists? Because the media is telling you that. Well, I mean, all it takes is you look at who owns it. Oh, it's the same people. That's really all it takes. I mean, we don't have to jump through any hoops here. All you got to do is ask them, well, why do the same people own everything on the fucking planet and no one does anything about it? And then the problem solved shortly after that. But for some reason, no one ever discusses that. Fucking. The religion. Wow, I've never seen that in the media. Have you? Oh, wow. Wow. I wouldn't even know it existed anymore if it weren't for the media. Just all those things. I wouldn't know they exist if it weren't for the media. So it must be the same people. Wow. It looks like the same people, too. Wow. Crazy, isn't it? Fucking. Wow. And then, okay, let's include the racial organizations too. Wow, we got a lot of things we're gonna have to include in this to boil it down and get all that hot air out the room and shit. Fucking. We're gonna revise that. Religio-hospital-ment. Media organizations. We're gonna have to combine it somehow. We'll figure it out, won't we?